not going to tell you, though. You're going to have to guess. So Kamala Harris, not only is she as dumb as a fence post, she's also drunk. Greetings to you, ladies and gentlemen. The second Free Phone Friday of the year is on, live, asking the question of the day.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Well, I'll tell you.
Oh, and remember, Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day. So, you know, if you want to, go ahead and wear a Hawaiian shirt and jeans.
It's Free Phone. It's Free Phone.
Yes, it is a free phone Friday. Yay! There you are charged with the task of telling us what it is we shall talk about here on the program. Telephone number to take me up on this kind, benevolent, beneficent offer. Use of the radio airwaves. And the telephone line, which does work, 844-527-8723, 844-5-CRUSADE. Email address, same as it ever hath been. I am KingDude at protonmail.com. Crusader Stadium chat room open at crusadechannel.com/chat. You know, some people have taken this 4-day work week thing just a little too seriously, folks. Used to be that Free Phone Friday was one of the more popular days of the week, and then we had the gas crisis of 2000. What was it? 2007, somewhere up in there. 2007, 2000. No, you know what? It was no. I think Obama was actually the president. It was 2009, and when gas got to be like, and this was 2 factors of inflation ago. Meaning a dollar was worth $3 today back then, and gas went all the way to $5.75 a gallon. California, I think Mike Churchill Band cut a song about it called, there were several, Gas Solutions, one of them. I'll play it for you later today. In any event, people started doing the 4-day work week because they couldn't afford the gas. And they just kind of stuck. Just kind of like commuting from home, kind of stuck because of the corona doom. So in any event, it is a Free Phone Friday, folks. We are 1, 2.5 days. Well, to be precise, 3 days. Wait a minute. 3 days, and it is 6:12 Central. It's 7:12 Eastern Standard Time. 3 days, 4 hours, and 47 minutes away from the end of the Biden regime. Yesterday, the Biden regime commuted the sentences of 2,500 supposedly nonviolent drug offenders. And released, and they are to be released back into the wild or out into the population. What does that bring the grand total to now? I think he's actually outdone Obama. And Obama had the record. I want to say that Obama pardoned and commuted the sentences of more people than any other president in history. Speaking of big rumor on the street, is that Barack Hussein Obama and Big Mike, Obama's husband, did I say that out loud? Obama's wife, Michelle Big Mike Obama, are on the divorce train. You might have noticed that Barack Hussein Obama had to make conversation with President Trump at James Earl Carter's funeral. What was the other event that she didn't attend, and now she's not going to the inauguration?
Yeah.
She went to, was another one in between here, so some event that they all were at, and all the surviving presidents. And now here is Inauguration Day, and it's traditional. If you're a surviving living president or vice president or whatever, you go to the inauguration. Remember, the peaceful transfer of power, we're told. So, for the Obamas, or for Big Mike, Michelle Obama to not show up, people are out there cranking out opinion pieces now. And the society pages, which most newspapers still have some semblance of, like in New York, it's called page 6 in the New York Post. They are floating the idea that supposedly Big Mike has business commitments. What kind of business do you have in Hawaii that would prevent you from going to the inauguration? By the way, it's going to be like 10 degrees on Monday. I talked to daughter number 2 yesterday. It's going to be 7 degrees in Boston. So D.C. is about, 3 hours south? So the polar vortex, I would imagine, would be hitting D.C. and it would be in the low to mid-teens when when they do the outdoor inauguration part. The actual signing, swearing ceremony, though, just so you know, and we're going to cover the whole thing live. We'll be live all day on Monday with inauguration coverage. The actual swearing-in ceremony is actually done. I want to say it's done at the White House, and there's a room that they use. And they still have John Adams' Bible from 1791 when Washington was sworn in. So when Trump actually does, when they do the big hoop you do on the Capitol steps, and then John Roberts comes out, the Supreme Court justice, and holds the Bible, and they do the big oath, and then Trump gives his inaugural speech, which I'm very much looking forward to. Because once the ink is dry and Katie barred the door, he is POTUS 47. I don't see why he shouldn't have an enemies list. They tried to freaking kill him. Now, of course, he's being magnanimous in all this, and he goes, you know what I want? I don't want revenge. I want America to be great against all I want. By the by, did you hear Janet Huxley's newscast? I love Janet. She's so good. She said, and the word is that President Trump was on the phone with Netanyahu going like, I don't care how you do it, Benny, get it done. Remember yesterday I was joking about going like, I don't care how big and how Jew you are, Benny. My advice, you better get it done. Get it done. I don't want it hanging. It better be done. When I put my hand on John Adams' Bible, it's beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful Bibles there is. It's beautiful. It's more beautiful with my hand on it. Trump supposedly sent the message out that he should absolutely, that this deal better be done, and it better be done. I saw this morning that the Wall Street Journal that the Israelis have agreed, and that they are going to sign the agreement, and so I believe that it is going to get done. Jon Voight, Sylvester Sly Stallone, and Mel Gibson have been named and nominated as ambassadors to Hollyweird from the Trump administration. You know, Mel's been getting out there a lot. I wonder if we could get 10 minutes with Mel. I saw he did a little bit with Raymond Arroyo the other day. In any event, of course, Mel lost his house in the Palisades fire, the Pacific Palace, in the Palisades, L.A. fire, which is still going, by the way. They still haven't gotten it under control. That reminds me, Minish Chur started rewatching a TV show. I'm going to warn you. It's called Fire Country, right? Yeah. I'm going to warn you, this is something we should talk about more often here on the Mike Church Show. We're the only people that can do this. Do you know why? Because we're not curation media. You do not tune into this show because I'm going to curate what everyone else said for you, and I'm going to play it back for you. I am going to play some of it, but so I can comment on it. But I'm actually going to tell you what's going on and what you should think about it. What's wrong with it, what's right with it, what's Constitution with it, what's Christian about it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We are not curation media here, and that's the big difference. You people that are watching live, We're like the last living relic of a bygone era of broadcasters and broadcasting. That was very, very successful, and your parents and grandparents loved. You might even like it. This show called Fire Country, though, it debuted 4 years ago on CBS. One of the star dudes was on David Boreanaz's SEAL team. He was, the character he played on SEAL team was Clay, and they just moved him, because it's a CBS production, they moved him over to Fire Country. So you go through the first couple episodes of this show. We watched it when it first came out because of him. And you get to like episode 4, and then they start everyone just becomes homo. The fire chief becomes homo, the chick, and then the fire dude becomes homo, and the whole thing just becomes an absolute woke DEI celebration. But in the first couple of episodes and in the pilot, it is revealed that wherever this country or county it is that they are in, they don't have the tools to fight wildfires. The fire chief dude says he doesn't even have a bulldozer. And in the first episode, there is a fire. It almost gets to the town, but they somehow stop it. And the entire first episode, they're talking about just how terrible, just how bad CAL FIRE is managed. Well, I think what's going to happen here, ladies and gentlemen, we haven't talked an awful lot about this week. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about it next segment. But let me just kind of give you the Cliff Note version here. California, as Arnold Schwarzenegger used to call it, California is what happens when leftards have hegemony. Hegemony means they run everything. Everyone is supposedly on the same page, right? So everyone's a Democrat. Everyone, and the Democrats are running everything in the entire state, save for a few very conservative towns. And then in the eastern part of California, where the agriculture is, they don't run things, but they have made the top-down state laws almost impossible to kind of circumnavigate around them. But this is what happens when leftard communists who have no real world skills whatsoever. The only thing they're good at is acting all bureaucratic and acting all commie and stuff. This is what happens when they are put in control. I think the people of California, and this is the damage that is being done here is in the tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions. The damage that has been done, somebody took a camera and started in L.A. and went up on PCH1 and went for a little drive just to film it and show people. Remember, I was talking about how all those great chase scenes in the movies on the cliffs in California, that's PCH1, Pacific Coast Highway 1. And, and I've driven it. I've been on it. You go on PCH1, it's beautiful. So the ocean on one side, and then, the mountains and the cliffs to your right, primarily. It is a barren, scorched earth wasteland. And what's going to happen here is that there are still tens of millions of sane people that live in California, and they are not going to accept gruesome Gavin Newsomabad's excuses for why this happened. And, well, we had all these things in place. We were the most prepared. Imagine if we didn't have our preparedness. He's out there bragging. Then the whole county of L.A. would have gone up in flames. Well, that's pretty much what happened, dude. I agree with actor James Woods, and I think when the fires are out and the damage can be counted, and when they find out that insurance companies aren't going to honor a lot of claims, insurance companies are going to go in there and they're going to go like, well, you could build that same house right there in Malibu. You can build it in Mandeville, Louisiana for about 1/10 of what it costs there. So, yeah, we're going to pay you the Mandeville price. You watch what's going to happen. I told you that the insurance, the mutuals do not have cash reserves to make all those people whole. It's not going to happen. So they're either, well, they're going to get a bailout, aren't they? Are they going to get a bailout? Is the Congress of the United States going to violate the Constitution and piss off all of MAGA America and rebuild pedo land for Hollyweirders? They better not. They better not. Maggie said, you want to see a real insurrection? Go ahead and do that. Well, I think that, let me circle back. Let me circle Peppermint Zaki back to Monday. What's going to happen Monday? Trump is going to be sworn in. He's going to go to all the balls and everything. I saw the schedule. I think there's three balls. The last one is the president's ball. That's the one where you'll see Melania and Trump. By the way, this is not the 2017 version of Donald and Melania Trump. Melania Trump is going in there with a little bit of an attitude and chip on her shoulder, too. And I'm just going to repeat this, and we're going to talk about this all day long here on the show. Why shouldn't the President of the United States have an enemies list? He has enemies. You know, that whole thing in the Bondi hearing, are you going to let him make an enemies list, or are you going to go after his enemy? She's going to do whatever he tells her to do because that's how it's supposed to work. But if I were President Trump, I would absolutely have an enemies list. I'd want to know who these people are. I'd want to know what they're doing, and I want to know where they are. Because they're scheming already. They're already scheming to undermine the result. What an irony, huh? To undermine the result of the 2024 election. Those are his enemies. His enemies are my enemies. They're your enemies. We're sharing enemies here. You're damn right he ought to have an enemies list. Now, I don't think he's going to publish it. I'm here today for my first press conference. Here's my top 10. Going to give you 10. My top 10. Those people that are, they need to be taken care of. They need it. So we will continue to talk about that. A SpaceX rocket blew up yesterday. And a kind of an interesting comment about that from Elon Musk, that we may not always be successful, but we're eminently entertaining. And what happened as this thing blew up and it started to descend to the earth, you know what it looked like to me? How many of you remember when the space shuttle, okay, which is the one that blew up on reentry in 2002? That was, it wasn't the Enterprise. Was it the Enterprise? Space Shuttle Enterprise? I'm trying to remember, but you could see it. No, it was the Columbia, the Space Shuttle Columbia. Here in southeast Louisiana, you could see it. There were pieces going right across the sky, right above our heads. You could absolutely. You people that live like Brian Kane, lives in Wharton, Texas, probably went right over his house. And you could see, and that's kind of what the SpaceX rocket disintegrating. The pieces should have been falling harmlessly into the Gulf of Mexico, it looked like yesterday. There's an interesting conversation, though, that is going on out there about space travel, about SpaceX, and the kind of, Elon SpaceX put a video out yesterday. Did you see the video where they say that currently it takes from New York to Paris is 5 hours and 27 minutes or something like that. Well, with SpaceX Earth to Earth can do it in 35. Now, I don't know if every man, woman, and child out there is quite ready to hop aboard a SpaceX rocket ship and take 4 to 5 Gs to get into low Earth orbit, and then take 8 to 9 Gs to do the retro entry to go back into to go back and do a landing and have the capture arm capture. But some people will. Some people will. There were Senate hearings yesterday. The Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, had his hearing yesterday. Also, Doug Burgum, who's going to be he's the energy secretary, right? Had his hearing. There's some interesting little tidbits that came out of that. Nothing. I thought that the funniest one, that the best one was when Ron Wyden of Oregon sat there and screamed and yelled at Scott Bessent about, well, the Chinese are building all kind of clean energy plants. We're in a clean energy race. We are Trump gonna do a clean energy race. and I don't even know this Bessent guy. I tend to say that I don't like him because of his sexual predatory status. But he just goes, Senator, the Chinese are going to build 100 coal-fired generating plants, and they're probably not going to build, but they may do 2 or 3 nuclear plants. They are not in a clean energy race. They don't care. We don't have a clean energy race, Senator. The reality is we have an energy race. And we're going to win it. Going to win it so big, so big.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Radio Network News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Friday, January 17th, 2025. This report is brought to you by Miles Franklin Precious Metals. With over $10 billion in sales and over 3 decades of experience, Miles Franklin will handle all your precious metal needs. For the Mike Church Show special price list, email them info@milesfranklin.com. In the market report, all 3 major indexes fell at last close. The Dow was down 0.16%, the S&P fell 0.21%, NASDAQ was down 0.89%. In National Day calendar news, it's Popeye the Sailor Man Day, because January 17th marks the 95th birthday of the world's most famous spinach-eating nautical hero. It's also National Classy Day, honoring people who are classy, and honestly, that's just a matter of opinion. It's also National Bootleggers Day. During the 1800s, the term bootlegger came to use in the Midwest. The word described the act of concealing flasks of liquor in a boot top when going to trade with the Native Americans. The term found its permanent place in American vocabulary when Congress passed the 18th Amendment prohibiting the manufacture, transportation, and sale of alcohol in 1920. Our quote of the day, my joy is in leading a hidden life unknown to others, Euphrasia of the Sacred Heart. And our saint of the day, Saint Anthony of Egypt. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News.
Hey, it's the King Dude for My Pillow. Mike Lindell sent me my first set of My Pillows 14 years ago. I loved them then, and I still love that same set of original My Pillows today. True story. Now, that's a testament to the craftsmanship and quality of the My Pillow. But don't take my word for it. Go try it for yourself. Use my unique code and get huge discounts and free shipping on all orders by going to mypillow.com/KingDude. That's mypillow.com/KingDude. Hey, it's Mike Church, and I'm here to tell you how you can enjoy this whole show in crystal clear stereo and without annoying messages like this one. Sign up for a Founders Pass membership for the grand total of 0.0. All we ask is your name and email address. No credit card needed. To sign up, go to crusadechannel.com/offer. Once you're a premium member, you can pull a Braveheart and shout, "Let my ears be free!" Treat your ears today at crusadechannel.com/offer. Hey folks, it's the King Dude. You know that thing that you just can't cook without? You know, the thing you call your bread and butter, or should I say, your beast and butt rub. Now, my seasonal is quickly becoming a kitchen essential for hundreds of American families. And how do I know? Because they've told me so. It's perfect on veggies, eggs, popcorn chicken, and of course, pork ribs and butts. Make every meal a King Dude masterpiece with a sprinkle of flavor that you can count on. Grab yourself a bottle or better yet, a 6-pack at shop.mikechurch.com.
The Mike Church Show, serving the hard liquor of truth to men who want to get drunk fast since 1992.
that's coming aboard the freight train of truth is leaving MAGA station. Mike Churchill is on. Welcoming all of you watching on the Crusade Radio Network, wherever that may be. And all of you watching or listening out there on the Crusade Radio Network, including our flagship terrestrial radio station, AM 990 WGSO in New Orleans, Louisiana. If you're listening on WGSO, the telephone number will work for you as well, 844-527-8723, 844-5-CRUSADE. Kamala Harris yesterday was plastered drunk. Well, you know, we travel all over the country. Let me show you something. People, they get out there, they thank us. They thank me. They thank me. I like been thanked. So it's hot in here. How do we keep having these alcoholic women that are in positions of leadership? By the way, Maggie says because they're unhappy. Well, of course they're unhappy. They're Democrats. That's a condition. You have to be unhappy. You kind of have to hate the human race. Nazi Nancy Pelosi, Winebox Nan will also not be attending the inaugural because she fell and broke her hip and is not able to ambulate, the way that she wishes to be part of the inauguration. So there's supposedly this tradition of vice president signing this desk. The vice president's desk, you get a Sharpie out and you sign. What did they do before they were Sharpies? To get a knife and kind of carve it in like you were, KISSING. Mike and Maggie, that's in the tree. Did they use a pencil? Or maybe they used, I'm trying to think. I'm an artist. I should know this. How would I have done it if I didn't have a Sharpie back in the day? I have a degree in commercial art. I should know this. I'm trying to think. I guess I would actually get a number 2 pointed brush and some India ink, and I'd use a brush. You can brush script is is really nice if you know how to do it. And it used to be that brush script actually had to be done with a brush, which is what kept sign painters in business. By the way, I looked into into getting the gamer's chair, okay? Because Tim Pool has 2.5 million subscribers. There are other fools out there. They can't hold candles to what we do here live for 3 hours a day. They have millions of followers. We have now 1,812. Thanks to the 10 people that signed up yesterday. Thank you very much. You should subscribe today. Be ahead of the curve. Don't you want to be one of the guys who go like, I was listening to that dude when he only had 1,800 subscribers. Well, all of you people are bandwagon jumpers. You want to be an original, don't you? Well, hit that subscribe button right there on YouTube today and on Rumble. I looked into the gamer chair. There's a couple of problems here. This desk platform here, and this is how it's been since 2003. This desk platform here is not at a usual desk height. It is set at about 34 inches off the ground. So this chair, the one that I actually am sitting, you can see the back of it right there. This chair is a tall chair. It can do a desk height of up to 34 inches. An average gamer chair, I couldn't find a single gamer chair, and I'm not going to get one, but if I were, I did look. Because Magdalene Rose, she's the youngest one around here. She goes, well, I can tell you how you can look more hip and Tim Poolish. You don't have to put the ski cap on, but you can get a gamer's chair. A gamer's chair only telescopes up to 21 inches, which would put me about a foot lower than I am today. So I'd be about right here. Now, I suppose we can move the camera down, but then I'd be rustling paper up here, and I'd be typing up here like this, and My elbows just ain't going to look right. So it's not going to work. So I'm not doing the, the gamer chair is for the young Baron. That kid lives on the internet, has a gamer's chair. I have a leatherback chair. I'm not doing, we'll have to figure out another way to do it. But I did look into it. Oh, okay. What is this headline you have handed me here? Progressive Capitol Hill staffers press for 4-day work week. Just as I was talking about in the opening monologue, the Doge people are supposed to come in and go like, you don't show up for work, you're fired, dude. Who was I talking with this yesterday about? Well, what are they going to do? What is a bureaucrat that's ordered to start showing up 5 days a week or they're fired? You're fired. What are they going to do? They're bureaucrats. They don't have any skills. They don't know how to do anything other than make your and my life miserable.
They didn't read the room. They're already on the chopping block.
Yeah, Maggie said they didn't read the room. You mean they didn't read the Doge room? Well, we don't know what Doge is actually going to do. You know, there are things that we hope Doge does. But there's also a poll that came out last week. Was it in the pile yesterday? Okay, there was a poll that came out. I meant to actually mention it on yesterday's award-winning, thrill-packed radio and TV broadcast that showed or purported to show. I'll never find it. If it's, I'll just make it up as I go along. Purported to show that what was the percent of leftards that were going to try and sabotage the incoming Trump administration here. And they were going to do things like this. We're not coming in. We're only going to work 4 days a week. And if we don't come in, you can't have a stupid hearing on Friday.
That was nearly half of federal employees.
Nearly half of federal employees say that they're actively going to conspire to thwart the wishes of President Trump and to thwart his agenda by doing things like not showing up. You know what? I will take that bet. I don't know if I can go to Vegas and bet something. I'll bet this house. I will take that bet that the guy that did stage the greatest Rocky comeback in history is going to beat you sniveling losers in the Department of Nowheresville. And again, should he have an enemies list? Well, these people are placing themselves on the enemies list. They're also, let's talk about this. They're placing themselves on my enemy list. Why should I be taxed for the privilege of having a government that actively conspires to destroy, to ruin and destroy me and my family? Go ahead. I'll give you 2 minutes to respond. This is not the government that was pitched to the American people in 1788 after the Federal Convention and the Constitution came out. It was even after the War of Northern Aggression, when the southern states were told you will rejoin the Union. No choice. You don't have a choice. You will. And you will, as a condition of rejoining the Federal Union, you will ratify the 13th Amendment and you will ratify the 14th Amendment. Which, I've talked about this for over a decade now. Only a state can ratify an amendment. So you can't say that as a condition of reentering the Union, you ratify the 14th Amendment. That would mean that the 14th Amendment was never actually ratified. Fine by me, and I'd like to take it off the books. Well, you flesh this argument out a little bit. Are you going to do the work, Miss Bondi? General Bondi, you're going to do the work of Donald President Trump with his enemies list? She should have said, yeah, I am. If they're lawbreakers, if they use and abuse the law to lock up innocent people for 010621 crimes, and we have a case again, and there's a case to be filed or to be made against them, it would be an act of injustice to not pursue them. Yes, Senator, we're going to lock every single one of those bastards up, and it might even include you and some of your staffers. How you like me now? There's a new sheriff that's coming to town. Again, we talked about the POTUS 47 picture, because people liking pictures yesterday. The picture again says, you tell him I'm coming and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me! But it really is an act of being, or a promise to wage war against the people of the United States that elected President Trump. And that is, he got more votes than any other Republican candidate in history. Now, by the by, how do you go from getting 78 million, supposedly, in 2020 and losing, and only getting 75 million in 2024 and winning the popular vote? Maybe some people voted in 2020 that weren't alive, weren't citizens, shouldn't have been voting. And remember, at the end of last year, when we interviewed at AmFest in Phoenix, I interviewed Cliff Maloney. You know, Cliff Maloney was talking about how he went and knocked, his outfit knocked on 700 and some odd thousand people's doors in Pennsylvania alone. Remember, Elon was paying people, was giving $1 million a day away in a lottery. And all you had to do to get entered in the lottery was go register to vote if you weren't registered to vote Republican. Remember that? So how is it while they're out there, these people must come in and admit that Biden won in 2020 and Trump lost. And the numbers just don't add up. So should there be an enemies list? Yes, there should be an enemies list. The Congressional Progressive Staff Association sent a letter to leaders of the House of Representatives and Senate proposing a shorter work week and arguing that reduction would improve the work done on the Hill. I'm going to go you one better. I would like for you to have a reduction in all work. I think you should come and be sworn in every other year on January the 3rd. But every year, you should start your session on January the 3rd, and you have until April the 1st, April Fool's Day, to finish your business, and then you go home. If a national emergency arises that Congress absolutely has to deal with, the president can call you back into a special session. Otherwise, stay your ass home. Stop making our lives miserable. Stop stealing. Stop lying. Stop cheating. In other words, actually go out and live a productive life for 6-7 months out of the year. And then let's call it even. You know, this is pretty much the way it happened before they installed air conditioners in the Capitol building in 1925 or whatever the year was. The letter addressed to Speaker Mike Johnson, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Senate Majority Leader Thune, and Schmuckle Schumer, said adopting the proposal would improve worker satisfaction, increase staff retention, and model a sustainable work approach nationally, you'll see. These homos. Now that woke is going out the window, can we start using the word queer again? These queers. When I was a little children, I used to play a game called Smear the Queer. I want to bring back Smear the Queer. And unfortunately, for those of you that are leftards that are watching, that's probably you. Almost every queer is going to be a leftard unless you're a Lincoln Log Cabin Republican, whatever the hell that is. But I think, as a show, that America is truly back. Let's bring back some old American playground games. And I nominate in the first instance that we should bring back Smear the Queer. Do you remember? Does anyone in the chat room remember how to play? Because it's been a long time since I played it. How do you play Smear the Queer? Foghorn in the chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat says, make Smear the Queer. We're going to make smearing queers great again. Is that okay? Is that okay, Mr. Speaker? Can we make smearing queers great again? My administration is going to propose. We're going to do it ourselves. Is that okay, Vance? we'll do Thursday. Thursday, smear the queer. How about that? Bring back, smear the, so it's dodgeball.
Yeah, you just pick the ass.
You pick the
You
queer,
pick the queer first.
and then you take the dodgeball, and then you smash it at them, right? Okay. Smear the queer. Mike Churchill here on the Crusade Radio Network, welcoming all of you that are listening or watching out there. Please subscribe to the channel on YouTube, Rumble, and follow me on X.com if you're listening on the Crusade Radio Network and you haven't downloaded the app. What is wrong with you? Download the Crusade Radio Network app. It's free. We had a nice day of fundraising yesterday. Still not anywhere near where we need to be for the month of January, so I'm going to ask you who's going to go first today. Give me somebody's name to thank in the chat room or on YouTube to make a donation to our Crusade Radio Guild nonprofit. You can do so again in the YouTube chat. It's called a super chat donation. You hit the $ in there. Donate any amount. I'll read your name out and thank you publicly. And you and I will forever be BFFs. Or in the chat room at crusadechannel.com/donate. Or clicking any of the donate buttons in the chat room. Back to the discussion here. The discussion here, by adopting a 32-hour work week for our staff on a rotating basis, you can accomplish these goals while retaining the productivity and quality of work you expect and deserve from your team. Now, again, these are bureaucrats saying that bureaucracy is hard work and they want to do less of it. Do we look stupid out here? Again, this is it's not even a thinly veiled attempt that, we're going to slow the wheels of government down. Here's something all for you commies out there, though, and you bureaucrats that, again, should President Trump have an enemies list? Yes, because he has enemies. And now you and I have enemies because we're supporters. We voted, you went out and did what you did, and you expect certain things to be done. I think that Don John of Mar-a-Lago plans to make good on his promises. I especially like that I didn't get a chance to talk about this the other day, the External Revenue Service, the ERS. We've harassed and ate out the sustenance of the American people for long enough. It's gone on long enough. We're going to have an External Revenue Service, an ERS, that is going to go after countries that have not paid their duties, tariffs, and imposts. And again, the federal government of the United States operated without a tax on the American people. A direct tax on the American people did not exist until the 16th Amendment. And then even after that, it took them 30 years to figure out how they were constitutionally going to do it. And that's how how they did it? You know it today, the FICA Act, Federal Income Contributions Act. That's how they did it. And then, of course, they followed that. Well, you're going to pay a Social Security tax. I might as well go ahead and pay an income tax, too, while we got them. The rest, as they say, is history. For the Doge to be successful, and for the Trump 2.0 to be successful, these people that want 4-day work weeks, tell them, you know what? We're going to grant your request. We're actually going to go you one better. We're not just going to give you a 4-day work week. We're going to give you a
0.0.
You're fired. Hey, now you're free to go out and find all manner of jobs where you only got to work 4 days a week. By the way, you may want to brush up on this here. I'm going to tell you exactly how to say this. Hi, welcome to Denny's. Can I take your drink order? True story. These staffers highlighted the demanding and intensive work that goes into ruining people's lives through legislation. I love when I sit there and I watch these hearings and I watch these senators. Her joke. Pat each other on the back. Well, Senator Durbin and I worked on this legislation. I have a question. Back of the room. Hey, hi, by the way, Looking forward to the first staff Smear the Queer game tomorrow. Why do we have to have legislation to address something that had been done? Couldn't we just go back to the original infraction law and just repeal it? If you want to get rid of abuses in the FISA court, and it's agreed that the FISA court has been used to spy on and attack the American people, well, then it would seem to me we don't need amendments in piles and stacks of laws to deal with the FISA court. Why don't you just eliminate it? Why don't you just eliminate it? If you think someone is a spy and you are so convinced, that's what they have grand juries for. That's what you have a grand jury for. That's what you got a grand jury system for. Do you see what I'm saying here? When they start talking about we're going to have legislation that's going to deal with this, if it deals with a federal entity that's already been created and something is wrong with it, if you keep piling regulations on it, you're just making it bigger. By definition, you're making it bigger. Why don't you just start over, eliminate the damn thing, and then see if anyone actually misses it? Because they probably won't. The group argued those resignations are a poor outcome both for the staff and members of Congress. They said that they work long, rigorous hours that could lead to burnout and premature resignations. You can almost hear the weepy violin music playing in the background as they cue up or they tee up this sad story of the overworked, overtaxed bureaucrat. We worked so many hours. This work is so taxing and tiring. Do you know what it's like to sit in a chair for 4 hours at a time and do nothing? Have you ever had to write a subsection and been on a deadline to do it? Like, I only had 6 weeks to write it. My member of Congress made me make them a blow-up placard of Trump. Do you know what it's like to have to look at him on a computer screen and then put text around it? This work is so hard. Please give us a shorter work week. We're so overworked, so overburdened. Hey, what are you guys talking about? Oh, you're one of them. Hey, guess what? We're all going out to the quad. We're going to play Smear the Queer. You guys look like you could play some Smear the Queer. Hey, you. Yeah, you, Democrat staffer. I think you're going to be the first. I nominate you for first queer. In the letter, the staffers outlined a proposal that the 32-hour, and now they only want, this is just like taking a red-hot poker, pulling a freaking John McCain, taking a red-hot poker, sticking it in the fire, getting it red hot, saying, hey, MAGA boy and girl, come on over here. Get on your knees. Open your eyes wide, taking the poker and just gouging an eyeball out with it. You lost. You lost. Who in the House of Representatives is going to break the news that they lost? Trump should have an enemies list, and we should help him maintain it. And the enemies should be afraid that hell's coming with him. The heyday of broadcast TV, NBC called its Thursday night lineup must-see TV. That was then, and this is now. And the only must-see TV is The Mike Church Show, now simulcast live on Roku, YouTube, and Rumble. But if you miss an hour or a day, you can watch that entire show whenever you want when you become a Premium Founders Pass member. Sign up today and access my 2,000-plus podcast. So many, I can't even get my mom to say that she listened. Go premium today at crusadechannel.com/offer.
The Crusade Channel On Demand presents the Deliver Us From Evil tapes, the series featuring former NYPD Sergeant Ralph Sarchie.
Well, a lot of people mess around with the occult until they can't control what they're messing around with. That's what I assumed happened with Lee Lutz. I know that he was messing around with the occult because his son told me.
The Deliver Us From Evil tapes, the series featuring Ralph Sarchie, real-life stories of the battle against the underworld, demons, and the people they prowl the world looking to ruin. Exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Listen or download the Deliver Us From Evil tapes, Piercing Truth, the Mike Church Show compilations, Mike's feature recordings, and hundreds of other titles in the Crusade Channel On Demand store at crusadechannel.com.
Did you know that MAGA caps are now going for $50? Well, listen up. I know where you can get a Make American Talk Radio Great Again cap for free. Sign up for a 1-year Founders Pass membership and the cap is yours for free. Sign up today at crusadechannel.com/offer.
Broadcasting 50,000 kilowatts from atop the tallest radio tower on the planet. We are KRSD, the Crusade Channel, Madisonville.
Well, it's what our call letters would be if we were on FM.
Attention Coffee Police Academy students. We will now call the roll. CPA candidate Jones. Present. Joe Arabica Friday.
Present.
Tommy.
Oh, I'm here, sir. I just can't seem to keep my eyes open since I started drinking this Barrett Bargain Basement Stale Bean Water.
And just why are you violating CPA Coffee Code SBW1AM?
Well, that's easy. So I can save up money to get into the Coffee Cop Academy.
Son, breaking CPA rules so you can get into CPA is no way to become a coffee cop. Now, I am afraid we're going to have to...
Uh-oh. Sounds like Lou has found the academy, and he's on his second cup of Abbey Roast.
What does he want?
He wants to know why the CPA didn't recognize his Rougarou nouns.
Rougarou nouns? And I'm the one that rejected his application.
Will Lou the Rougarou have his revenge and grind the coffee cop into espresso? Stay tuned to this station for our next episode. And in the meantime, order Abbey Roast Coffee at shop.mikechurch.com.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Radio Network News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Friday, January 17th, 2025. This report is brought to you by Miles Franklin Precious Metals. With over $10 billion in sales and over 3 decades of experience, Miles Franklin will handle all your precious metal needs. For the Mike Church Show special price list, email them info@milesfranklin.com. In the market report, all 3 major indexes fell at last close. The Dow was down 0.16%. The S&P fell 0.21%. NASDAQ was down 0.89%. In National Day calendar news, it's Popeye the Sailor Man Day because January 17th marks the 95th birthday of the world's most famous spinach-eating nautical hero. It's also National Classy Day, honoring people who are classy, and honestly, that's just a matter of opinion. It's also National Bootleggers Day. During the 1800s, the term bootlegger came to use in the Midwest. The word described the act of concealing flasks of liquor in a boot top when going to trade with the Native Americans. The term found its permanent place in American vocabulary when Congress passed the 18th Amendment prohibiting the manufacture, transportation, and sale of alcohol in 1920. Our quote of the day, my joy is in leading a hidden life unknown to others. Euphrasia of the Sacred Heart. And our saint of the day, Saint Anthony of Egypt. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News. Did you know that the rosary began as a tool to give laity a form of common prayer like what was being prayed in monasteries? And monasteries were praying all 150 psalms from the Bible. But most laity couldn't afford a Bible, and most couldn't read, so they began praying the Our Father 150 times a day. Today, the rosary is prayed by millions, and each one is a work of art. There is no finer maker of this art than Maggie O'Connell and the Little Bayou Rosary. Find her rosary creations today at shop.mikechurch.com.
Hey, it's the King Dude for My Pillow. Mike Lindell sent me my first set of My Pillows 14 years ago. I loved them then, and I still love that same set of original My Pillows today. True story. Now, that's a testament to the craftsmanship and quality of the My Pillow. But don't take my word for it. Go try it for yourself. Use my unique code and get huge discounts and free shipping on all orders by going to mypillow.com/KingDude. That's mypillow.com/KingDude. Did you know that MAGA caps are now going for $50? Well, listen up. I know where you can get a Make American Talk Radio Great Again cap for free. Sign up for a 1-year Founders Pass membership and the cap is yours for free. Sign up today at crusadechannel.com/offer. We've all heard the cliche, that's your bread and butter, meaning this is what you've gotten so good at, and it's so important you can literally do it in your sleep or blindfolded. Well, that's what My Beast and Butt Rub is becoming to hundreds of American families. Their go-to bread and butter seasonal. Use it on veggies, eggs, popcorn, chicken, and yep, pork ribs and butts. Pick up a bottle or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com.
The Crusade Channel program you're enjoying will resume in 2 minutes.
If you want to drastically improve your company's training with bite-sized content that's engaging and customized for the skills your people actually need, well then Learny is for you. You see, Learny's mobile app gives you the flexibility to train your workforce anytime, anywhere. Now I use Learny and so should you. Book your free demo today at learny.com/KingDude. That's learny.com/KingDude.
In the beginning, there was beer, and man saw that beer was good. And man said,
wouldn't 6 of these packaged together be even better?
Then man created the 6-pack and saw that it was good. Next, man invented the cigar, and man saw that the cigar was good. And man said,
let's pack them up in boxes of 25.
Then man...
25? What was wrong with 6?
Announcing an idea whose time has come. MB Fuma Off the Boat Cigars. Now in 6-pack and 4-pack samplers. Right alongside Manchupi and Maria's cigars in singles and 4-pack samplers. On sale now at shopmikechurch.com. That's shopmikechurch.com. And this is supposed to be a 60-second tight spot. So one more time, shopmikechurch.com. Take a break from the outrage porn on most social media and join the laid-back live talk and chat room radio that is the Midday Show with Fiorella De Maria. Weekdays, 11 noon Central on the Crusade Radio Network. Live Talk Radio.
Hey, guys. You got a minute?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
It's about my dad. He wants to have a sex change operation.
Whoa, I knew he was gay. I didn't think he was that gay.
No, Peter, he's not gay. He's a woman stuck in a man's body.
Yeah, gay.
It's totally different.
Sounds the same.
Well, it's not.
Okay, so he wants to be a woman so he can be a lesbian?
No, he'd date men.
Gay.
Yeah, gay.
Okay, this is not the help I came over here for.
Well, look, let's just all agree that he's odd, huh?
He has an appointment Friday with Dr. Hartman to have the procedure, and he wants me to go with him. I don't know if I can handle that.
Well, I'm sure your friend Peter would be happy to come along for moral support.
All right, but look, here's the deal. Anything he lops off, we get to bring home for Brian.
That's very green of you, Peter.
I do feel, Reg, that any anti-imperialist group like ours must reflect such a divergence of interest within its power base.
Agreed. Francis? Yeah, I think Judith's point of view is very valid, Reg, provided the movement never forgets that it is the unalienable right of every man or woman to rid himself or herself. Agreed. Thank you, brother. Or sister. Where was I? I think you finished. Oh, right. Furthermore, it is the birthright of every man or woman. Why don't you shut up about women, Stan? You're putting us off.
Women have a perfect right to play a part in our movement, Reg.
Why are you always on about women, Stan?
I want to be one.
What?
I want to be a woman. From now on, I want you all to call me Loretta.
What?
It's my right as a man.
Well, why do you want to be Loretta, Stan?
I want to have babies.
You want to have babies?
It's every man's right to have babies if he wants them.
But you can't have babies.
Don't you oppress me.
I'm not
pressing, you stam. You haven't got a womb. Where's the fetus gonna gestate? You're gonna keep it in a box?
Here, I've got an idea. Suppose you agree that he can't actually have babies, not having a womb, which is nobody's fault, not even the Romans, but that he can have the right to have babies.
Good idea, Judith. We shall fight the oppressors for your right to have babies, brother. Sister, sorry.
What's the point?
What?
What's the point of fighting for his right to have babies when he can't have babies?
It is symbolic of our struggle against oppression.
Symbolic of his struggle against reality.
In the era of the Biden regime, the Mike Church Show lives by the creed, if at first you don't succeed, try again. And if that doesn't work, move to Grenada.
If you need a friend, don't look to a stranger.
Don't you just want to go play tetherball when you hear this?
I'll always be there.
Now that guy, Napoleon Dynamite, perfect for Smear the Queer.
And when you're in danger, take a look all around, and I'll be there. I'm sorry, but I'm just thinking of the right words to say. I know they don't sound the way I planned them to be. But if you wait around a while, I'll make you fall for me.
I promise you that if you make a contribution to our January crowdfunding effort, I will read your name aloud. CrusadeChannel.com/donate. CrusadeChannel.com/donate. And if I don't read your name aloud, I'll do something else that I know that you would love to hear. How about like this?
Super high-tech jet fighters.
And we'll talk about burning gasoline this hour. Super high-tech. Kelly is a Crusader Nation superhero. So is Maria Hart. So is Bob and Julie Kopka. So is Shafa Thotin. So is Dr. Torres. So is Kaiser. So are so many of you. If I didn't mention your name, don't worry. I just didn't see it right now. So is Tar Heel Militia, our friend Brian in North Carolina. So many of you guys, you show up every day. It's an honor to be here and represent all of you. I just say to all of you people that are watching on the YouTube and the Rumble and X.com that don't know us from Adam, why are there these super fans here? Like Kelly donated $49.99. That's on top of what she's already done.
She donated $10
Yesterday, this week. Why? Maybe she's just stupid and got a lot of money to throw away. Okay, well, that's one explanation. Or maybe there's something actually that goes on here on the Crusader Nation and the 33-year-long running Mike Church Show. Maybe, I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday. As a matter of fact, let me just go ahead and announce this. My friend Mark Zarefus is a very successful YouTuber. As a matter of fact, he listens to, he's probably watching right now. Hey, Mark. Mark says, King Dude, you ought to have 10 times the viewers that I have. And I don't know what they're doing to you, but I'm going to help you get there. He and his son have started a new channel. It's called Liberty Main Street on YouTube. Now, if you go there right now, you go, there's hardly anything on there. Well, they did like a week. They got 5,000 some odd subscribers in a week. They called me last week and asked me if I would be interested. So we had a meeting. We talked yesterday. And next Tuesday will be episode number 1 of, I don't even know what I'm going to call it yet. Probably just maybe the Late Show, the Late Mike Church Show. I don't know. But I'll be doing a weekly 1-hour episode for Liberty Main Street. Now, this is going to serve two purposes. And one is I could probably do something different, just a little different than what we do here in my hour. But the second is they actually have an audience. They got a couple of 100,000 between the son and the dad. And they both want the Mike Church Show and the King Dude to be the internet sensation they think he should be. I'm not talking. I feel like I'm talking to Leon in the Budweiser commercials, third person, and are willing to like, hey, King Dude, will you join us? I'm like, hell yeah, I'll do it. So we'll start that next Tuesday. So I ask all of you that are just wandered into the middle of the show like a child that has no idea what's going on. What is it that drives all these people that if you stop by every day, you'll pretty much see a series of names? And I don't think it's just that it's just perfunctory habit. I think that, it's a big, giant radio, TV family here, and we treat each other like family. We have arguments. We yell at each other. We hate each other for a little while, kiss and make up. And we help one another when help is needed. I don't know any other radio or TV personality that has an actual signal group that's run by a super fan member that just prays for the other members and takes their prayer requests. We do. That's just as an example. So subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend, and thank you very much in advance. Let's do this. Since we haven't played this song in a while, and this is going to be a huge, definitely huge issue here. Mike Church Show band song here from 2009.
You say you want a gas solution. Well, we don't want to ride a bike. You tell me that it's the pollution. My SUV makes greenhouse gases that I like.
Solar, wind, biofuels.
But when you pay $5 a gallon, we're gonna take some polar bears right out.
That's not good for polar bears that have actually drowned.
Won't you drill more for me? All right.
We can't drill our way out of this problem.
Drill right.
Solar, wind.
All night.
Biofuels.
To investigate whether or not the Democratic Congress is manipulating prices.
They are.
We got a win solution.
Mike Church Show band. I can't wait to make this video. Win.
You ask me for some conservation. Well, hell no.
Anti-American non-energy bill.
I leave my lights on cause I can.
Congress still has no energy plan except turn on these light bulbs.
But if you give money to people that hump tree bars,
Hey, Griswold,
they ain't gonna get us no oil from Anwar.
where do you think you're gonna put a tree that big?
Won't you drill on one for me?
Bend over and I'll show you.
All right.
You serious, Clark?
Drill right.
Wind.
Bend over and I'll show you.
Wind.
All night.
Wind.
By the way, not a single new windmill will built in the United States.
Drill our way out of this crisis.
Yes, we can.
We have 68 million acres.
68 million acres of federal land. When they own 68 million acres,
let them drill in the 68 million acres. More exploration, yes or no?
68 million acres ought to be explored.
They say there's 68 million acres. Well, we know they're old wells and they are dead.
Rather than looking for more of this, like I said, dirty oil.
You liberals are a bunch of fakers. Well, we know
When there's a natural
we
deposit
got more oil than Mohammed.
than a trillion recoverable barrels of oil,
If you liberals don't shut up and let us make more gas, we'll take all your windmills and shove them right up your
68 million acres.
Don't you know we're gonna drill all night?
more than a trillion recoverable barrels of oil.
Drill right. That's right.
All right, get that song in the anthology collection at shop.mikechurch.com. By the by, if you're on the YouTube, check out the Oval Office Dreamin' video, the official video which just went up yesterday, and was I actually did that video. You people out there in the video world have no idea. If I learn how to do this stuff, we produced all of these songs. We did all of the soundtracks for this, all of our documentaries, our movies, and our films. We had the audio end of this stuff mastered. If we sit down, me and Mosier, and figure out how to do the video stuff, they have no idea what's coming their way. There's a lot of crap out there. Absolute trash. By the way, what is that donation so I can thank that person? I can't see it from here. Jacob F. Is that $10? What is that? Thank you very much, Jacob. Appreciate it. Dan Quigley. Dan Quigley's a super fan. Say hi to Mallory for me. Play digital media file number 1. We're going to talk about burning gas and making gasoline burning and SUVs great again.
Wait, which one?
Well, we're just going to start off with you answer my number. I ask question. You answer. I in charge. You answer question. This is so stupid. Such an embarrassment. Because of Mazie Hirono, I think we should sell Hawaii, use the money, and buy Greenland.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome. As part of my responsibilities to ensure the fitness of nominees before any of the committees on which I sit, I asked the following 2 initial questions. First is, since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No, Senator, I have not.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement related to this kind of conduct?
I have not.
Going to take that as a yes? Why? You know what that's, Jude, that's projection. That's projection. Senator, may I ask you, when was the last time you were on Epstein Island? When was the last time you were at a Marina Abramovic spirit cooking party? I'm not going to tell anyone else. No, it's between me and you. Here's the real digital media file with the governor of North Dakota there, Doug Burgum, and about energy and AI here. Let me just let you, for those of you that may not know, so you may be a new listener or viewer or whatever, it's not a fossil fuel. It's a complex hydrocarbon. We need to change our terminology around this joint, okay? Don't ever say fossil fuel again. If someone who says fossil fuel in your presence, correct them. Gently, fraternally correct them and say it's not a fossil fuel. It is a complex hydrocarbon. Now, if you want, I'll actually give you the chemical formula for it because there is one. And you know what that means? That means that there is a process that is combining these various molecules together and using the great pressure of the Earth's crust. Oil is being made right now. You can't stop it. It is a natural, ongoing process. The amount of oil on Earth is not finite. As long as there is carbon in our biosphere, as we like to call it here, us people that deal with reality, as long as there is carbon in our biosphere and there are carbon-based entities or bodies or creatures that aren't immortal, I'm not talking about souls, then that carbon is going to be returned to the earth. When it is returned to the earth in the great circle of life, where's Elton John when I need him? When it's returned to the earth and it combines with other compounds under the pressure of the earth's crust or the mantle, it will become oil. That's just a fact. It's being made right now. Which is why you find it in so many places in the Gulf of Mexico, because not only do you have the surface of the earth, the crust, and that pressure bearing down, you also have 1,000 feet of water. That's how many atmospheres? There's 30 atmospheres. That's a lot of weight. So first things first, we are never going to run out of oil. I'm sorry. No, Maggie, it's not. Maggie said it's the Gulf of America. No, Kaiser or whoever, it's not the Gulf of America. It's the Gulf of Dixie. Get it right. We're not going to run out of oil, is the point that I wanted to make. So all these, we have to have alternatives. We're going to run out, like Billy Bob Thornton in that stupid movie, on that stupid TV show, Landman or whatever the hell it's called. Well, here's the fact, sister. We're going to run out of this stuff. We better find a way to replace. We're not going to run out, Billy Bob. I don't know who wrote that line for you, that dumbass Tyler Sheridan. You're not going to run out of oil. Unless you kill all the organic life on Earth. Then, yeah, you'll run out of oil. So play digital media file number 2. Because it's all about producing energy. And by the way, if you want to produce more energy than you could ever use, than you would ever need cleanly, start building nuke plants again. And I think Trump's going to get it done.
Talk about how you implement a game plan to achieve that goal of energy dominance that President Trump wants for this nation.
Well, again, I think I don't want to get caught in making forward-looking statements because the council will be formed by an EO, but I think that the intention, as you can read in President Trump's public statements, are he's very simple. He wants to cut red tape. He wants to have more affordable energy for us. He wants to sell energy to our friends and allies so they don't have to buy it from our adversaries. That's how we reduce tensions in the world. And then we've got to make sure that we're doing it in a smart way because he talks all the time about clean air, clean water. So he's basically talking about the approach that we're talking about here at this committee. This committee will be deeply involved in helping set those policies, but it's an all of above, go get it done. And stop getting in the way of ourselves, and particularly with this AI, the AI battle. People don't understand that what's coming right now with AI revolution is going to happen during President Trump's term, where when we have generalized intelligence that we can manufacture, it's going to affect our ability to compete with every other power. And China they permitted more than 2 coal plants a week in the first half of 2023. And they're already the world's largest emitter. So we're competing against someone who's going to create more electricity, produce more AI, and this could be how we lose the Cold War with them if we don't get it done. We have to do it here, and we're a country that believes in reclamation. We believe in following labor laws. China, child labor, no reclamation, no care about the environment. They're a tough competitor right now in terms of their ability to produce electricity. So we've got to get going, and we've got to cut red tape, and we've got to realize that if you shut down U.S. energy production here, it doesn't help the global environment. That's a false trade-off.
Absolutely not.
It doesn't help because somebody else produces it someplace else, less cleaner than we do.
Now, by the way, what's refreshing about that? That's just a guy that knows a little bit about oil energy production and oil and gas exploration and about the burn rate, how much you take out, how much you burn, and what the reality is. The Chi-Coms don't care. Their air quality is crap, and they don't care. Well, because they're communist. Look, communism is always going to lose because communism at the end of the day is the absence of God. God will not tolerate it. Ultimately, and it's not that many people won't die in the process, but ultimately, just like what happened in the Soviet Union, is going to happen in China. China will not be communist forever. Neither will Cuba. As a matter of fact, there are rumors down there right now. If you know where to look on the dark webs, there are rumors right now that the Communist Party, the CP in Cuba, is in big trouble. And the Trump administration knows it. Wouldn't it be nice to have a return of Republic of Cuba? You know, we can't even conceive of what Cuba was like. Cuba, did you know, prior to 1958, Cuba was the #1 foreign nation destination for American tourists. Look it up. True story. Fact. Why? Dude, you go to Havana. Have you ever been to the panhandle of Florida beaches, Fort Walton, Panama City, Destin, Sandestin is a resort there? Sugar white, beautiful sand, blue-green, phthalo-green water. I love the Panhandle of Florida. It's one of the most beautiful places in the entire South. Well, pretty much most of the island of Cuba looks like that. It's a little warmer. Imagine a Cuba that is a republic again. And by the way, the island of Cuba doesn't just make tobacco. They make sugar. You name it. If it can grow, they make it. And anyway, I didn't mean to get sidetracked. They had casinos there, too. Casino gambling wasn't legal. It's one of the reasons why what happened in Vegas happened in Vegas. Okay. Play the next one here. I want Ron Wyden Did you get that one? I think it's probably at the end. Senator Wyden, same question to Scott Stennett, the Treasury Secretary. It's number 4. I'm sorry, Bessent, number 4. This is pretty much the same question. Now, this is the Treasury Secretary who's going to pretty much, you can tell already, just in these confirmation hearings, what you're going to get out of the Trump administration. And it's going to happen on January the 21st. Watch.
Now there is a big effort in the Trump administration to reverse it. I think that's going to be bad for the economy, but it is going to be damn good for China because we are in an arms race on clean energy with them. Are you going to be on the side of people who want to unravel this?
Senator Wyden, just so we can frame this for everyone in the room, China will build 100 new coal plants this year. There is not a clean energy race. There is an energy race.
Boom.
China will build 10 nuclear plants this year. That is not solar. I am in favor of more nuclear plants. And I would note that the IRA, as scored by the CBO, is wildly out of control in terms of spending on the upside.
I don't know what he's talking about, the IRA, but I do know this because there's twice now. You heard the same thing, that the Chi-Coms are going to build coal plants. Why coal plants? Because they're easy. If you have steel and you got coal, basically you can do a coal-fired generating plant. A nuclear power plant, you have to have cobalt, or you have to have refined cobalt or plutonium or uranium or whatever it is that they use in the reactor. It is a very complex process. There are only a couple of countries on Earth that can do it. France can do it. The United States can do it. I think the Russians have done it. And I think we ought to get back to doing it because we're the first ones to do it. Back in the heyday of broadcast TV, NBC called its Thursday night lineup must-see TV. That was then, and this is now. And the only must-see TV is The Mike Church Show, now simulcast live on Roku, YouTube, and Rumble. But if you miss an hour or a day, you can watch that entire show whenever you want when you become a Premium Founders Pass member. Sign up today and access my 2,000-plus podcast. So many, I can't even get my mom to say that she listened. Go premium today at crusadechannel.com/offer.
Silver and gold.
In these turbulent times, buying silver and gold is such a no-brainer that even snowmen know they should do it. Now, all precious metal dealers claim to be the best, but only one can claim they are endorsed by the KingDude, and that's Miles Franklin. My friend Andy Scheckman's a regular guest on my show and a regular genius when it comes to silver and gold, and I trust him with my silver and gold purchases, and so should you. So email Miles Franklin today for your exclusive Mike Church Show discount price list. info@milesfranklin.com.
Did you know it took centuries to develop the Hail Mary prayer? First, the monastics began adding, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you, to the end of their psalm readings. Later, Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus, was added. And by the 15th century, the Hail Mary was complete and took the place of the 150 Our Fathers many prayed daily. Today, the work of art that is the Rosary is cherished by millions, and there is no finer maker of this art than Maggie O'Connell's Little Bayou Rosary. Find her rosary creations today at shop.mikechurch.com.
Hey, it's Mike Church, and I'm here to tell you how you can enjoy this whole show in crystal clear stereo and without annoying messages like this one. Sign up for a Founders Pass membership for the grand total of 0.0. All we ask is your name and email address. No credit card needed. To sign up, go to crusadechannel.com/offer. Once you're a premium member, you can pull a Braveheart and shout, "Let my ears be brave!" Treat your ears today at crusadechannel.com/offer. Do you hear that, Maggie?
Do I hear what?
You don't hear the sound of bees buzzing about?
No, I see the result of that buzzing about in these beautiful new beeswax candles.
We sell candles now?
Not just any candles. These are handmade beeswax candles.
Well, that explains me imagining bees.
And they come in different sizes. There's a votive, a 3-day, and a 7-day size too.
Well, that should start a buzz in the store.
It better, or you'll get the buzz.
Order handmade beeswax candles today while supplies last at shop.mikechurch.com. Hey folks, it's the King Dude. You know that thing that you just can't cook without? You know, the thing you call your bread and butter, or should I say, your beast and butt rub. Now, my seasonal is quickly becoming a kitchen essential for hundreds of American families. And how do I know? Because they've told me so. It's perfect on veggies, eggs, popcorn chicken, and of course, pork ribs and butts. Make every meal a King Dude masterpiece with a sprinkle of flavor that you can count on. Grab yourself a bottle or better yet, a six-pack at shop.mikechurch.com.
Mike Church is about to unload a howitzer-sized barrage of the good, true, and beautiful. Nah, won't do you any good to duck.
How you do? Performing this show with half my testosterone tied behind my back just to make it fair. An oasis of toxic masculinity, Catholic and Constitution common sense, surrounded by a sea of despondent, angry, ugly, single cat ladies. The High Tea Mike Church Show is on. Man, I am so looking forward to Monday, folks. Spinning the greatest bumper music from the great decade that was the 1980s. That's what we do here. You got a request. Here's what you do. You go into the YouBoob chat or into the chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat and you say, hey, TKD, can you play this as a bumper from the 80s? If I have it. And there's a very good chance that I do, thanks to John Swallow. Thank you, Cajun. The Cajun loaded me up, brother. If I don't have it, I don't know why. Got like 1,000 tracks. If I have it, make a donation, any amount. I don't care what it is. Actually, I do, but... and I will play your track as a bumper song. Sound good? How about that? That's the deal. All right. Call-in line telephone number 844-527-8723, 844-5-CRUSADE. Email address, I am KingDude at protonmail.com. We're in a bit of a quandary because we want to do a Free Farm Friday today, but I also want to get the senators yelling, the Democrats yelling at Kristi Noem. Because you know it's going to happen, and her confirmation hearing begins today. She is going to be instrumental in sealing the southern border. Now, and I fully expect that whoever is on that committee is going to unload on her, even though it's Trump's policy. They're going to unload, and they're going to beat her up for it. And so I think we'll do and I'm not sure, they never start these things on time. They all say 9 Eastern. They never start at 9 Eastern. So we'll do a Free Farm Friday, and then we'll go to that hearing here. A couple of other things that we want to talk about here, and we're still talking about Trump. Should he have an enemies list? You're damn right he should. And he should actually be Cape Crusading. You know, all of this about we're not going to use it. He's not going to. Why shouldn't he? It wasn't like these people did legal things. They need to be made to pay. Well, can you imagine just being a Democrat and knowing that? Well, I don't know if I can make a deal with them. Why would deals even be on the table for some of these people? You know, the people that put Trump where he is, who stood by him and continue to pray for his conversion and for his health and his safety and his welfare and all that, you know, we have a say-so in this. There were promises that were made, there were things that were said that were going to be done. I fully expect that they should be done, and maybe they even should be done in spades. Maybe there should be things done that weren't even promised. But you know, have to be thought of. I tell you, I thought about this. In addition to having a Doge bro, when Trump was sworn in, okay, in November of 2016, I know this. because I was following it very closely. In November of 2016, after Hillary was dispatched, thank the Lord, the transition team, the first transition team, started to come together, and there were questions that were being asked. Well, how are you going to do certain things? President Trump got pretty much bad advice on how to do most of them. Not all bad advice. Well, one of the pieces of good advice that he got, I'm going to shock some of you people by saying this. You shouldn't be that surprised. We prize the truth around this joint. One of the things that I think that he got right, and there's some good advice that he got some advice from Steve Bannon. There was a white paper. It came out of the 2016, I've talked about this before dozens of times. There was a white paper that came out of the 2016 Trump transition team. It was primarily authored by Steve. And I'm just going to paraphrase here because I don't have it. And I don't even know if Maggie could find it. Maybe she could. But the white paper pretty much said this. If a federal agency is doing something that a state can do, and the 10th Amendment says that the state once had that power, or you're usually under the 10th Amendment, then the states should reclaim that power. Now, they didn't follow through on it, because one of the first things that you would do is kill the transportation department. It's the lowest of all hanging fruits. No federal highways get built without Davis-Bacon union contracts being awarded. And instead of somebody being, okay, how fast can you build that road? It is, well, how many union workers can you put on the job? And, they're only going to work 4 days a week. They're only going to do this and that and the other. Here in Louisiana, when they built the new bridge that goes over the Tchefuncte River, Louisiana's a right-to-work state, and they didn't have Davis-Bacon here. And I watched them build. I'm a nerd for this stuff. I watched them build that freaking bridge. I was curious. I'd go drive down there some days, and I just sit at the foot of the river, the Tchefuncte River, and just marvel. I just go like, wow, that's how you do this. So that's how you get across the river. I hope that there is a Steve Bannon in that inner circle. Or maybe it isn't even Steve. Telling Trump what he was telling him in 2016. Mr. President, we have a Rosetta Stone moment here. You have a touchstone moment. You're elected to do certain things. You ought to do them. I think that, there's an old adage in business. Promise low, deliver high. Overperform. Low expectations, high results. Well, I think we can get it done. Give them a bad estimate. I think we can get it done in 8 weeks. Deliver it in 5. And they go, wow. You promised Doge. Now go above and beyond. Whip out the 9th and 10th Amendments to the Constitution. Take a look at every federal agency that exists. And if the states can discharge those duties, then you need to eliminate them. It's tough love. It's not going to make a lot of people happy. Bureaucrats are going to fight. Lobbyists are going to fight. They should lose. Now, that's my perfect scenario. Do I think that's going to happen? Of course I don't think it's going to happen. I can talk about it, though. We can fantasize about it. I mean, speaking of, I'm going to give you one example of something that happened, and that as soon as he becomes president on January 21st, this ought to happen. The other day, it was announced by the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, that they were going to finally ban red number 3. FDC red number 3 is illegal in 2027. And I go like, what? Milka what? Where's Lindsay Lohan at? Milka what? 2027? Well, you'll see, we have to give the manufacturers time to adjust. No, you don't. People are dying. If it's a controlled illicit substance that's killing people, you ban it tomorrow. Well, I hope it was cold milk. If you've already produced some Gatorade that's got the crap in it, fine. Don't make any more. Find another way. I hope that after RFK Jr. is confirmed, or even before then, that President Trump fires an executive order off under the advice of his medical team, which includes Dr. Callie Means, and says, we're not waiting until 2027. You got 6 months. 6 months to get it out of the supply. There are substitutes that you can find, and they can be quickly implemented. And if they can't, oh well, you get Gatorade that used to be TNC red number 5 died, and now it's only blue. Well, we can't sell the red anymore, but maybe you sell more blue. That's an overperform. That's delivering more than you promised. Now, just for all of you cynics out there, some of you people, I really do not envy living a life in constant paranoia. It's not healthy. Now, have your guard up. That's fine. You should always situational awareness. But some of this paranoia that I see, how do you even, why do you get up in the morning? If I was as paranoid as some of you, I think I literally would move to Alaska. Go somewhere where there's no internet. No television stations get anywhere near. You won't know what the Chinese Communist Party is doing to the rest of the world. And since there are so many of you that fit this description that I happen to personally know, okay, they're not going to do anything. You guys are a bunch of idiots. You're a bunch of fools. You believe this stupid Trump guy. None of it's going to happen. Ugh. That's right. Everything sucks. The cynics win every time. The communists also win all the time. The good guys never win. We never win a thing. Okay, well, here you go. Steak and Shake moving to 100% beef tallow in restaurants. By the end of February 2025, all Steak and Shake locations will use 100% all natural beef tallow to fry their fries. Put that in your conspiracy, cynic. The world sucks, and I don't even know why God created me. Pipe and frickin' smoke it. Nothing's gonna change. Everybody's gonna, oh, okay, yes, so said you. Hey, KingDude won, you nothing. I'll take the win. My church won, you cynic, nothing.
0.0.
You said nothing was going to happen. Shake and Shake, here's the press release. Steak and Shake announced today it is moving forward with the use of 100%. Of course, now you're going to go, yeah, well, the tallow came from bioengineered cows. Because your paranoia can't admit a win. So, yeah, well, I bet that tallow, cause I bet those cows they get steroids and antibiotics. Well, you mean the one here? Yeah. We don't have a Steak and Shake. But this is going to be the cynic response. Yeah, well, it's not going to matter. Because what about all the antibiotics? Oh, dude, really? Seriously, dude. Really? I mean, come on, man. One thing at a time. Steak and Shake has long been famous for its shoestring fries, and it will now fry them in the best way possible. When fries were created centuries ago, they were made with tallow. Quote, our fries will now be cooked in an authentic way, 100% beef tallow, in order to achieve the highest quality and best taste, close quote, said Chris Ward, Chief Supply Chain Officer for Steak and Shake. Chief Global Development Officer for Steak and Shake, Kristen Bried, stated, quote, the consumer wants the best and deserves the best by adopting 100% beef tallow. Steak and Shake is delivering the best fries possible. MAGA Trump people won. Cynic, I don't even know why God created me and everything sucks. It's never going to change people.
0.0.
I think this is going to happen across the industry because if you know what goes into seed oils, and that secret is going to come out, once the studies are published, they're all there. They don't have to. Did you know that in the 1970s, when the move was made to vegetable oils, I can still remember the Wesson oil commercials with the lady who was the mom on the Brady Bunch, Florence Henderson. Did you know that they knew in the 1970s, late 60s, 1970s, they knew because they studied it, that seed oils, the seed oils that went into the process that makes vegetable oil. You think about vegetable oil. How do you get oil out of a what? They knew that the oils, if they weren't combined with the rest of the matter, the substance of the vegetable, that being isolated, that they weren't healthy. This was known. This is studied before. It's all out there. It's already out there. You don't even, that's what RFK Jr., he knows these. He knows that those studies have already been done. I just think that is huge, definitely huge. Now, let's switch gears here quickly here. Speaking of RFK Jr., play digital media file number 8. By the by, it could happen today. Now, if you have the TikTok app on your phone, you can keep it, as I understand it. But if the court rules for the Congress and against TikTok, which I think is just an abomination, now, if you make the connection that TikTok is actually connected to the CCP, I'm fine with it. I don't believe that they made that connection. In any event, play digital media file number 8. Listen to this traitor.
I might have been the first to call on Republicans in the Senate to reject the nomination of RFK Jr. as Secretary of Health and Human Services. You know, there are many aspects of the government that bear upon the issue of life, none more important than health and human services. It was one of the reasons why during our transition in 2016 and 2017, all of our candidates, first and foremost, were supporters of the right to life. Ultimately, our nominee, Secretary Tom Price, would move forward and advance the cause of life. And we made great progress. As you know, you were directly involved in a number of those issues through administrative action. But I understand people's desire to defer to the incoming president and the team that he has around him. But there's a reason why our founders gave the Senate the authority to advise and consent. It's the ability to help shape an administration and in some respects serve as guardrails around what the American people voted for. And I would just say to anyone in the sound of my voice today that the Secretary of Health and Human Services on a month-by-month basis makes more decisions that bear upon the sanctity of life and protections of religious liberty than any other member of an administration except the President of the United States. And so I think it's incumbent on the Senate now, in the Health Committee in the Senate, to ask the tough questions of RFK Jr., to get the answers, but ultimately, my hope is that the Senate will reject his nomination as Secretary of HHS and give President Trump an opportunity to nominate any number of men and women who are eminently qualified to lead health and human services, but also would bring with them a deep commitment to the sanctity of life.
OMG. If I didn't know better, I think you were...
I know that cracker didn't say nappy-headed hoe.
Nappy. I wish you would have said nappy-headed hoe.
Okay, faggot, what's next?
You know why he's doing this. It didn't have anything to do with life. By the way, where were you, Pence for Brains, when Biden was nominating a fake man, a man faking to be a woman, and a deranged, fallen off the wagon supposed Catholic, Xavier Becerra, a fire-breathing day of birth abortion promoter and defender? I don't remember you issuing a video statement. You know why he's doing this. You know who put him in the governor? First, who put him in Congress? Big Pharma. Who put him in the governor's mansion? Big Pharma. Who put him in the vice president's seat? Big Pharma. Who is now his master telling him, dude, you got to get rid of this guy. You got to help us get rid of this guy. He's going to ruin all of us. Big thing. All this is is one of the biggest sniveling, lying lobbyists and pimps. He's a whore for the pharmaceutical industry in the United States and some from Europe. It's Mike Pence. Look it up. This is all to defend the pharmaceutical gold mine that they currently have. You know, I talked about this a couple weeks ago, so let me mention it again. Turn on any broadcast TV show. You know, you can even go to Peacock because they make you watch commercials. Even though you got to pay for Peacock, they make you watch commercials. By the way, a couple of more streaming cable or streaming service channels have bitten the dust. I turned my Roku on last night and going like, why have all my boxes been moved? Because I'm used to them being in certain places. And it's because channels keep going out of business or they just shut them off. Talk about that later. Turn on any, you can watch a basketball game now. Football season is just about over, or the remaining football games. You might wonder, like, how in the hell, where do they come up with these names for all these drugs? And they all have the same blueprint, the same formula for their TV ads. And the TV ad formula is the same in all of them. You know what the TV ad formula is? The TV ad formula is blue sky, bright sunny day, small town America, or in the tropics. Everyone is smiling. No one is overweight and fat. And everyone is beautiful and tanned. And they are all dancing to some obscene, awful cheese ball tchotchke music bed because they've all taken this drug. Rinse and repeat. Doesn't matter what it's for. There's what's it called? Wegovy, I think. It's called Wegovy. His commercial actually makes me want to throw, almost said it, stuff crap at the TV. The only weight loss drug that also does heart health. Your weight loss drug is killing your pancreas. These people are all going to be, they have to be, most of this stuff is not legal in California. For example, you can't, in Europe, in the EU, to their credit, you can't get Ozempic. It's illegal. You know why? Because it freaking kills people. So this is just Mike Pence doing what he does for the pharmaceutical companies, and that's all that's happening. Again, I can't wait for Monday. And by the by, you might have noticed that Pence shook Trump's hand. Pence's wife, that ingrate, just sat there and looked the other way like the president-elect of the United States is extending a hand to you, an olive branch, and all you can do is sit there. Oh, wonderful example of Christian comity and charity. Wonderful example. Good job, Mrs. Pence. What else do we have here? You actually had, all right, can you squeeze, let's try to squeeze in digital media file number 3. I don't want, I was going to play pencil head or pencil neck ship, but do Angus King instead. Now, this is the disease that is liberalism, and it is the disease. 3. That's it. Ready to go. Roll it.
Would you agree?
He's an independent, is what I get ready to say.
Renewable resources, solar and wind, for example, can be developed if they are adequately, if they can be integrated into the grid in a safe and reliable way.
Yes, they can, and it's not for me personally for any political reasons that I distinguish. It's just because of physics, the physics of the grid. If we don't have enough base load, and it's the base load that we have that's allowed our nation to make the investments into the intermittent.
I don't want the word. In a former life, I developed both base load and intermittent resources. I don't want the word base load to be code for no renewables. That's not what you're saying, is it?
No, we need a balance, but they
The intermittent, if you want to call them renewables, is used as a positive word, but this is a fact of life, is they're intermittent. And when they're intermittent, until we have storage solutions, and we're years away from having significant enough cost-effective
Why
storage
invest in
to support
it?
that, we need to have the base load, or the intermittent doesn't even have a life. But
You know, I saw a video yesterday or 2 days ago, and I just laughed at it because I thought it was funny. There are Walmart, I think it was Walmart, tractor-trailer delivery trucks, 18-wheelers, that are delivering in between states, and they're electric. Well, they ran into the polar vortex, the last one, and it got really cold. They shut down. You know how they got them started? They had to bring a 20-foot-long diesel generator out to charge them up.
Find out why some smart people think the earth is flat, that some fascists are good, and that millstones should be a part of every American police department's armory on Parrot Talk with Mike Parrott, weekdays 10 to 11 a.m. Central, right here on the Crusade Radio Network.
The Crusade Channel On Demand presents the Deliver Us From Evil tapes, the series featuring former NYPD Sergeant Ralph Sarchie.
Ronald Sr. had a statue of St. Joseph holding the infant Jesus installed on the front lawn. He would even hand out statuettes of St. Joseph to his co-workers, saying, "Nothing can happen to you as long as you wear this."
The Deliver Us From Evil tapes, the series featuring Ralph Sarchie. Real-life stories of the battle against the underworld, demons, and the people they prowl the world looking to ruin. Exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Listen or download the Deliver Us From Evil tapes, Piercing Truth, the Mike Church Show compilations, Mike's feature recordings, and hundreds of other titles in the Crusade Channel On Demand store at crusadechannel.com.
Folks, back in the day when women were women and men weren't, you only needed a half dozen resources to keep up with the news. It's almost impossible to stay informed without previewing and fact-checking till your eyes turn MAGA red. That's why you should sign up for my new daily email newsletter, The Church Doctrine Daily, with my quote of the day, lead show topic, and 3 stories Crusaders can't do without. Subscribing is easy and free at mikechurch.com/dude.
You're listening to the Crusade Channel, a Black Hat Studios media property, broadcasting live 24/7 from Madisonville, Louisiana, and to the world via crusadechannel.com.
Crusade Channel News. News you can trust, because the truth can be trusted. From the Crusade Channel News Desk, here's Janet Huxley.
Good morning, Crusaders. Welcome to Friday, January 17th, 2025. I'm Janet Huxley, reporting for the Crusade Radio Network News Desk, live from the Dothan Farm and Ranch, south of Kansas City, Missouri. This report is brought to you by Mike Church's Beast and Butt Rub, a rub that has won championships and will help make you a champ in your kitchen or backyard. Check out Mike's recipes and pick up a bottle or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com. Here's what to listen for this hour. Trump says ceasefire better be finalized before his inauguration. Melania speaks out against the Obamas. Rudy Giuliani will get to keep his stuff. And Trump names 3 film stars as ambassadors to troubled Hollywood. President-elect Trump said a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas had better be finalized before he is sworn into office on Monday. During a podcast interview with Dan Bongino, Trump also said his involvement in the negotiations was crucial to the deal getting done. We changed the course of it, and we changed it fast, and frankly, it better be done before I take the oath of office, he said. I'm not looking for credit. I want to get these people out. We've got to get them out. The deal is expected to begin on Sunday, but Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said issues with Hamas has held up his government's approval of the truce. Meanwhile, Melania Trump has accused the Obamas of trying to hijack her husband Donald's first term in the White House. The incoming First Lady made a cutting dig while saying she feels more confident of her husband's fast-approaching second term. Now, former President Barack Obama is not there to make things difficult. The first time was challenging. We didn't have much of the information, she said on Fox and Friends. The New York Post is reporting Rudy Giuliani will get back his $5 million Upper East Side high-rise, his vintage Mercedes, Yankees memorabilia, and other prized possessions as part of a stunning deal reached Thursday with 2 Georgia election workers he allegedly defamed. Negotiations ratcheted up Monday, a day after Trump posted "Save Rudy" on Truth Social. And that, of course, sent a flurry of donations to Giuliani's fundraiser. The deal allows the 80-year-old to hang on to all of his property in exchange for an undisclosed amount of compensation, the women, in a statement released by their lawyers, said. The past 4 years have been a living nightmare, the statement said. Our quote of the day, "My joy is in leading a hidden life unknown to others." St. Euphrasia of the Sacred Heart. And coming up, our saint of the day. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News.
Where do you find gourmet coffee, great barbecue seasonings, and the best must-read books? Answer, the Founders Trading Post store.
Yeah, but how do we get folks to remember we sell so much more?
I got it. Remember the McDonald's jingle?
2 all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun.
All right, Lou and I will buy.
Well, here goes. Rosary stickers, lapel pins, stuff on bees, t-shirts, ball caps, download CDs, and reading fun.
Thanks. Now Lou and I want a Big Mac.
The Founders Trading Post store really is stocked like a trading post at shop.mychurch.com. Big Mac sold separately.
Come on, Lou. You can finish your order in the car. Let's get a Big Mac.
There's only one way to get mine and former NYPD Ralph Sarchi's The Deliver Us from Evil tapes, the Amityville Horror 4-part podcast series. Sign up for my Church Doctrine Daily email newsletter at mikechurch.com/evil.
Our saint of the day is Saint Anthony of Egypt, who reminds many people of Saint Francis of Assisi because he was so moved by the gospel message at the age of 20 to go and sell what you have and give it to the poor. He actually did just that with his large inheritance. But he's different from Francis in that most of Anthony's life was spent in solitude. He saw the world completely covered with snares and gave the church and the world the witness of solitary asceticism, mortification, and prayer. But Anthony drew many people to himself for spiritual healing and guidance. At 54, he responded to many requests and founded a sort of monastery of scattered cells. At 60, he hoped to be a martyr in the renewed Roman persecution of 311. At 88, he was fighting the Arian controversy. Anthony is associated in art with a T-shaped cross, a pig, and a book. The pig and the cross are symbols of his valiant warfare with the devil. His cross, his constant means of power over evil spirits. The pig, a symbol of the devil himself. The book recalls his preference for the book of nature over the printed word. Anthony died in solitude at age 105. President-elect Donald Trump has named 3 film stars as special ambassadors to Hollywood, and the president-elect continues to garner more support from the pop culture than he did 4 years ago. He said in a post on Truth Social, it is Mel Gibson, Jon Voight, and Sylvester Stallone that will serve as ambassadors to the great but very troubled place of Hollywood, and will work as his eyes and ears on the ground in pursuit of bringing back the golden age of Hollywood. And all 3 actors have indicated support for Trump. In October, when asked who he was voting for, Gibson told TMZ he didn't think his vote would surprise anyone, and he believed Kamala Harris had the IQ of a fence post and a miserable track record. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Channel, seeking news and finding truth.
Take a break from the outrage porn on most social media and join the laid-back live talk and chat room radio that is the Midday Show with Fiorella De Maria. Weekdays, 11 noon Central on the Crusade Radio Network. Live talk radio the way it should be.
For the last time, I'm pretty sure what's killing the crops is this Brondo stuff.
The Brondo's got what plants crave. It's got electrolytes.
So wait a minute. What you're saying is that you want us to put water on the crops?
Yes.
Water? Like out the toilet?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be out of the toilet, but yeah, that's the idea.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
Okay, look, the plants aren't growing, so I'm pretty sure that the Brondo's not working. Now, I'm no botanist, but I do know that if you put water on plants, they grow.
Well, I've never seen no plants grow out of no toilet.
Hey, that's good. You sure you ain't the smartest guy in the world?
Yeah.
Okay, look, you want to solve this problem. I want to get my pardon, so why don't we just try it, okay? And not worry about what plants crave.
Brondo's got what plants crave.
Yeah, it's got electrolytes.
What are electrolytes? Do you even know?
It's what they use to make Brondo.
Yeah, but why do they use them to make Brondo?
Because Brown's got electrolytes.
Well, what a first week back in broadcasting in 2025 it has been. Thanks to all of you who have joined us. This portion of the program brought to you by the Founders Trading Post store. Folks, free shipping all weekend long. It started yesterday, so all day today and all day tomorrow, free shipping at shop.mikechurch.com. Take advantage of the trio of KingDude seasonings. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that in just a moment here. The brand new Mike Church Show retro neon T-shirt, all the great gourmet coffees, including My Capuchin Holy Roast, free shipping. Everybody loves free shipping. Is that how you say it, Mr. Vice President? Free shipping. It is available now. Shop.mikechurch.com. Please shop with us today. And if you can't, but you still want to help the cause, make a donation at crusadechannel.com/donate. It is a free phone Friday, and you know what that means, my friends.
Oh, and remember, Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day. So, if you want to, go ahead and wear a Hawaiian shirt and jeans.
Do it!
It's free phone. It's free phone.
Yes, it is a free phone Friday. Today you are charged with the task of telling us what it is we are going to talk about here on the program. If you cannot get to the telephones, you can send a chat message question. Chat is crusadechannel.com/chat, or on the YouTube, you can chat right there in with the YouTube. Let's go live really quick here. Donna from the Bronx is on the phone. I want to just want to eavesdrop here. I told you we were going to bring this hearing here. Christy Noem's confirmation hearing is on. Rand Paul's given his opening statement.
In the federal government. This is the first of many consequential moments for this committee as we renew our commitment to the constitutional oversight role that Congress must assert. I have no doubt that the nominee will consider in the coming weeks and months that you will be up for the challenge. Governor Noem, thank you for your willingness to serve, and I yield to the ranking member for his opening remarks.
Thank you, Chairman Paul. Governor Noem, it's great to see you here today, and I want to first thank you for making yourself available not only to the entire committee, but the discussions that we had in my office.
Gary Peters
from
Michigan.
More in depth in the issues than is possible in a hearing like this, and having that open and frank conversation is something that I appreciate.
Will you just start yelling at her and accuse her of being a slut already?
Committee staff as we conduct our due diligence and review of your qualifications and a background to serve as Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. As our third largest federal agency with more than 240,000 employees and an operating budget of more than $100 billion,
too many.
The Department of Homeland Security requires strong, stable, and principled leadership. Our nation faces serious threats and security challenges, from securing our borders and combating terrorism to preventing cyber attacks and responding to our nation's increasing number of natural disasters. And DHS is the first line of defense in all of those areas. I appreciated the conversations we had at today's hearing, where we discussed the importance of ensuring that our nation's borders are safe and secure. And while we must address the significant challenges we face on the southern border, we also need to ensure that there are sufficient resources to secure our northern border, something I know you're very familiar with as the governor of your state, including building out our Northern Border Mission Center. This is especially important in my home state of Michigan, which has two of the nation's busiest border crossings. And we're going to be adding another span shortly, the Gordie Howe International Bridge, which will open later this year. To facilitate the lawful trade and travel to those ports of entry that are absolutely critical to our economy, I've worked on legislation to hire additional U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers to meet increased staffing demands. We must secure our borders, but we also know it is well time past to streamline our immigration and our asylum process as well. In addition to border security, DHS is responsible for addressing many threats that face
all right, can you just pause it and we'll pick it up later because people want to hear this, and we're not going to get the whole thing during the course of the show here. I want to say something about H-1B visas because I've been talking about this, and there's a few of us. Jack Posopic's been talking about it. Steve Bannon's been talking about this. So there are some people that are talking about it in the negative. I saw a post the other day. I want to say that it was Chipotle. Don't quote me on that. It was a restaurant chain. They were bringing in and requesting H-1B visas for Indians and other Asians to come to the United States to work at their restaurants for about half of what they're paying American employees. This is what I was talking about. If you can't find an American to chop your chicken up, slop some guacamole on it, and squeeze a lime on it, well, then shame on you. And if you can't afford to pay them, then you don't deserve to be in business in the United States. So this idea here, and again, full-throated opposition, no more H-1B visas. Until the process can be reviewed again, it is being used to disemploy and discourage Americans. The companies that are doing it, if you find out, and there ought to be a list, don't do business with them. They must not be rewarded for this. But I'm not sure that it was. If you're looking for it, Maggie, you'll never find it because it was on Poso's Twitter, and that's 20,000 tweets ago. So you could forget about finding it. I should have printed it. What I should have done is it was a link, and I did click it. This is well known, though. Okay, and she will obviously have an instrumental role here. We've already heard Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy squawking about an increase in H-1B visas. No, they're wrong. What if we didn't make another? Well, then you lose the space race. Tough. Go to American universities or start your own. Yeah, Elon wants you to do that. Start your own university. Teaching computer science, not that hard. You basically need the freedom to do so and then the resources. Not hard. Anyone can build a freaking classroom. Well, what are we supposed to get to? You get hands-on people, teachers to do this stuff. In any event, I wanted to mention that, and I also wanted to mention one more thing about the LA fires. This is and I told you this in the first hour of the program. This is without me. This is why your kind, humble, benevolent host, the only worth watching live radio and TV show left in the business now. I just kind of instinctively know some of these things, and I knew this one. This guy from TMZ, his name is Josh Altman, a celebrity, real estate agent out there in California. What did I tell you earlier today about the insurance companies? If there are claims made on $3 and $4 and $5 million Malibu homes, that they're going to go like, we're not going to pay you to rebuild your McMansion. Just quickly, Josh Altman. Now, this is exactly what's going to happen. Now, I don't know that means that someone else comes in as a speculator and buys the dirt, as he says it.
They want to move back to the Palisades. Are they considering moving elsewhere? Do they?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Look, this is hard to say. I strongly believe that 50% of the people who lived in the Palisades are not going to be moving back to the Palisades.
Why?
Yeah, and honestly, that number wasn't as big last week in my mind, but after the phone calls that I've been getting, people who are moving to Brentwood, Santa Monica, Bel Air, Beverly Hills. Those are going to be the markets that are going to go up because people want to be as close to normalcy as possible.
Yeah.
And those are those towns right around the Palisades.
Yeah.
Those are going to go up, that market. That's where they're going to move. It's going to be too long. You got to realize Palisades is the all-American town, right?
Yeah.
The families are running around. It's like what you picture towns in movies that we used to watch.
Yeah.
These kids that are 5 years old right now that live in the Palisades and go to school, there's a chance that if things don't move fast, it could be 4 to 5 years before they're back there. These kids are now 10. They're going to different schools,
Right,
different lives now, you know. So it's tough because picture you living on a street. You're the first house finished, and every other house on the street is in construction.
Yeah.
Think about that. You don't want to do that. You want to wake up every single morning and be reminded of that.
Right, it's traumatic.
I'm negotiating almost a dozen deals right now on land in the Palisades, much faster than I ever thought I would be doing. People are already trying to sell their dirt, knowing that they're not going to go back there, to home builders that will then build their house and either keep it or sell it.
So who's...
Okay, enough. This doesn't even answer the question. I don't know how wealthy these people are. Sure, but he goes on to say that most of them didn't even have homeowners. You know what the cost of labor is to build out in California? Are you insane? Wait till in January, at the end of January of this year, did you know it is illegal to run power tools in the state of California thanks to the California legislature and Gruesome Newsom? Now, if you already have one, you could still use it, but you can't buy a new one. Some people are going like, you're just making it up, KingDude. I'm not making it up. The law passed like 3 or 4 years ago. And they put off implementation until this year, until 2025. So you can't buy a lawnmower. You cannot purchase a gas-powered lawnmower in the state of California beginning February 1st. I'm pretty sure that it's this year. How are you going to build back? With what? Who's going to buy the lumber? What are you going to build back with? Spitballs? Let's go to Don from the Bronx, all the way to Florida, our cultural affairs contributor here. First time we talked to Don in 2025. Merry New Year to you, my brother. How are you?
Good to see you. Good to be with you here during Epiphany Tide and, of course, still the Christmas season.
Yes, it is Christmas tide until the blessed holy day that is Candlemas, which I got that in reverse, actually. The blessed holy day, which is my birthday, which doubles as Candlemas. So it goes in one of those orders. Yes, our Christmas lights and the wreath are all still up. So are you going to the inauguration?
I was invited, but I've declined. I would rather not enter that area, and as exciting as it will be, and there'll be a lot going on there. Just not something that interests me at this time in my life. So I'll be staying home and watching it on X.
When you lived in the Bronx, did you ever? Do you remember living through days that were 8 degrees in the morning?
Of course,
with a high of 15.
Yeah, it doesn't excite me. It doesn't excite me, and big city life doesn't excite me anymore either. So, yeah, I did my part, and I'm glad that everyone's going to be there celebrating. But I'm going to be coaching Little League this weekend. Here in the sunny state of Florida.
Now you're going to get some cold too. We're going to get a little cold here. It's going to get down in the 20s, but nothing like 7 degrees like my daughters are going to experience. Don, you've been to Mar-a-Lago. You know a lot of the many movers and shakers, Catholic and Protestant, through TPUSA and other groups. Is the momentum still there? Everyone's still excited?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Tell us about it.
The momentum is there. I think, listen, you're going to have, and I've seen these people on social media, you're going to have those people, I call them the sniping class. These are the people that really don't ever have any skin in the game, but they love to snipe from the sideline. And you're going to see them pop their heads out from time to time to snipe on certain issues and certain things that come to light. Listen, this thing isn't going to be perfect for the next 4 years, but I think we're in the midst of a massive cultural shift. And I think it will eventually roll over into the faith life. We're already seeing it amongst Protestants that are in a panic. I mean, you could see by their complete disdain and attacks on the Blessed Mother during Advent that they sense that something is going wrong in the mainline and the evangelical Protestant churches, because they're seeing young men that are converting to Eastern Orthodoxy and the Roman Catholic Church at pretty high levels. So that's part of the cultural shift, I believe. I think there's a shift back towards what our maybe grandparents were growing up with, and I think there's a yearning for a more masculine culture. I think that's found in the traditional Roman Rite and what a lot of like the ortho bros like that you hear about on social media. Right? It's a much more masculine, virile faith than seeing somebody play a guitar and go to some Christian concert on at some worship hall, or supposedly. So, yeah, I think there's a shift in the culture, and I do think the momentum is there, and there is great opportunity here to do some really, really good things over the next 4 years because of that. And I think the incoming president is a much better candidate, a much better president than he was in 2016, and even would have been in 2020. I think he's learned a lot. I think he's seen now all the pitfalls and seen all the traps they set for him. And frankly, I think the other side is on the run and desperate. For those that always keep counting on the deep state to pull the rug out, I got news for you. The deep state is not as intelligent as you think they are. They work in government. Let's just remind ourselves of that. They chose to work in government. They chose to work in government because they probably couldn't hack it in the private sector.
True that.
So let's not be as worried and fearful about what the deep state is going to do to you, because they're not as scary as you think they are. Food supply is still here. The election was won. We haven't been poisoned to death by the vaccine, even though some who chose to go that route have poisoned themselves. And there's really, really good news on the horizon in all those areas.
No, I completely agree. I meant to mention this on Monday, and I forgot about it until you just said it just now. On the weekend show with Aaron Barker and his co-host, Brian quit the show, but Aaron and Erica, I didn't know this, and I had never heard this. Did you know that AB went to a Latin Mass? No. He sure as hell did. He talked about it on the show because Erica was talking about, she goes, I don't know, Aaron. I think that there's something to like traditional Catholicism that may be making a comeback. Now, these are a pair of Protestants now. And Aaron said, Erica, I actually, and he said something to the effect, thanks to the KingDude, I actually was so intrigued by it that I actually went to a couple of Latin masses. I think he said in 2019 or in 2020. I'm pretty sure it was 5 years ago or so. And he said he said I thought it was beautiful. It was I didn't miss that there was not the guitar. I didn't miss it. And I didn't hear the entirety. So, AB, if you're listening, I didn't hear the entirety of the conversation. I don't want to say anything else because I didn't hear the whole thing. But it was a very warm and it was a very respectful conversation about traditional Catholicism. And I'm like,
it's also about Mike. It's also about the silence too. I think yes, I think that becomes once you experience the silence of true worship, you realize that's what you really have wanted all along.
Yes.
And, it's a very it's very, I think it compares very well to what we see in our culture. Like we have this constant need to fill time with stuff, with noise, with social media, with sound, with all these different things. And it should be the one place where you go and you actually experience silence and you're in the presence of our Lord. So I think there's, a strong yearning for that, particularly amongst young men, for silence, to tune out the world. And I think that's part of the attraction.
And I want to say something else to my friend, our political, cultural affairs contributor. We should just call you what you are. You're our Catholic affairs contributor. It's not from the Bronx. But that is culture. I mean, literally, that is. Of
course it is.
It is culture. It's what cultivates. I saw this the other day. I didn't comment on it because I saved it for today. And I said, I'll just talk to Don about this. All of you that are so despondent because you saw the social media post of the rainbow flag waving dancers in the church and the circus act, and when Pope Francis was there, guys, this is the end. This is the end of the iconoclasm or whatever it is that they're doing. You know, I didn't throw anything at the wall, didn't scream when Pope Francis made Bishop McElroy the Archbishop of Washington of the D.C. diocese. McElroy is old, so is Francis. There aren't any that we know of, anyway. There aren't any McElroys that are practicing the faith, truly practicing it. They're young McElroys out there. The young guys that are in the faith and even into the faith, and Maggie, you know this. Let's talk about Father Starkovich for a minute. Father Starkovich does the new right, but he's one of the most conservative guys that I know. He's a good priest, and he's slowly working like the Latin rite back into his Novus Ordo. That's your future bishop. That's your, well, we hope. Well, we can pray, right?
Yeah.
Young guys like that, even in the new right, they see the beauty of tradition, and they're bringing it into their parishes and into their congregations. Now, that's not a rule. That's not a rule. It's not happening everywhere, but it is happening. And those parishes are flourishing. Tradition, wherever it is flourishing. That's a fact. And I think that's something that you can very much look forward to growing.
I think, though, at the end, Mike, this is going to be lay-driven. Fulton Sheen talked about this, that it's going to be the laity that saves the church. I truly believe that. I think he was right on with that statement and that prediction. I can tell you here, anecdotally, we were invited by the diocese. I'll share with you. I had a conversation with someone very high up in our local diocese here who said, you Latin masters, you isolate yourselves. I said, no. You have it inverse. You've isolated us. And you have us out on an island and intentionally have us apart from the rest of the diocese. And I challenged him in that conversation. I said, listen, if there's ever an opportunity for our parish or for the traditional community to step up and support the diocese, I said, you call me personally, and I will make it happen. Hey. And he remembered that conversation, and he called me a few weeks ago, and the Diocese of St. Petersburg is hosting their first March for Life through downtown Tampa. They usually do it through St. Petersburg.
Hey, Don, hold that thought for just a second, if you would. We got to take a quick time out.
Sure.
Hey, folks, we'll continue this conversation. You're not going to want to miss it on the other side of the timeout. See you in 3 minutes.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Radio Network News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Friday, January 17th, 2025. This report is brought to you by Miles Franklin Precious Metals. With over $10 billion in sales and over 3 decades of experience, Miles Franklin will handle all your precious metal needs. For the Mike Church Show special price list, email them info@milesfranklin.com. In the market report, all 3 major indexes fell at last close. The Dow was down 0.16%. The S&P fell 0.21%. NASDAQ was down 0.89%. In National Day calendar news, it's Popeye the Sailor Man Day because January 17th marks the 95th birthday of the world's most famous spinach-eating nautical hero. It's also National Classy Day, honoring people who are classy, and honestly, that's just a matter of opinion. It's also National Bootleggers Day. During the 1800s, the term bootlegger came to use in the Midwest. The word described the act of concealing flasks of liquor in a boot top when going to trade with the Native Americans. The term found its permanent place in American vocabulary when Congress passed the 18th Amendment prohibiting the manufacture, transportation, and sale of alcohol in 1920. Our quote of the day, my joy is in leading a hidden life unknown to others, Euphrasia of the Sacred Heart. And our saint of the day, Saint Anthony of Egypt. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News.
Hey folks, it's the King Dude. You know that thing that you just can't cook without? You know, the thing you call your bread and butter, or should I say, your beast and butt rub. Now, my seasonal is quickly becoming a kitchen essential for hundreds of American families. And how do I know? Because they've told me so. It's perfect on veggies, eggs, popcorn chicken, and of course, pork ribs and butts. Make every meal a King Dude masterpiece with a sprinkle of flavor that you can count on. Grab yourself a bottle or better yet, a six-pack at shop.mikechurch.com.
Did you know that the rosary began as a tool to give laity a form of common prayer like what was being prayed in monasteries? And monasteries were praying all 150 psalms from the Bible. But most laity couldn't afford a Bible, and most couldn't read, so they began praying the Our Father 150 times a day. Today the rosary is prayed by millions, and each one is a work of art. There is no finer maker of this art than Maggie O'Connell and the Little Bayou Rosary. Find her rosary creations today at shop.mikechurch.com.
Folks, back in the day when women were women and men weren't, you only needed a half dozen resources to keep up with the news. It's almost impossible to stay informed without previewing and fact-checking till your eyes turn MAGA red. That's why you should sign up for my new daily email newsletter, The Church Doctrine Daily, with my quote of the day, lead show topic, and 3 stories Crusaders can't do without. Subscribing is easy and free at mikechurch.com/dude.
2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3.
If women living near rivers and taking the pill turns the frickin' frogs gay, imagine what happens to men on the same river who don't listen to Mike Church.
Welcome back. Final segment of the week. Mike Church on the Crusade Radio Network. The high testosterone, good for you conservative Ozempic Mike Church show is on. Our final segment today. Shop in the Founders Trading Post store all weekend long. Free shipping. Don't cost nothing. At shop.mikechurch.com. You know, we had a fantastic day yesterday. Before I go back to Don, I just want to tell this American entrepreneurial success story quickly. I shop at a grocery store chain. That is the Piggly Wiggly. Most people don't know it's a chain. It's actually the largest grocery store chain in the United States. And I have been shopping there for pert near 15 years. So the guy that bought it back about 10 years ago or so, I know him personally. He and I talk whiskey and stuff. He's a nice guy, and he's working in his store. Well, he was in there one day a couple of weeks ago, and I said, hey, Travis, I said, you display a lot of local spices and product stuff. I make a line. I have my own. I have 3 blends that I use. Can I bring you a sample and you could try it? He goes, what do you sell it by? I said, a case of 12. He goes, how many? I said, I have 3. He goes, bring me a case of each. He goes, you make it yourself. I said, yes, my brand, everything, barcode, the whole thing's ready to go. He goes, I love buying local. He goes, but when it's buying local from a customer, it's not even a question. Just, I'll take it. Now, I'm going like, now that's the way business should be done. If you're a customer and you're making a look, I'll buy it. I will put it in the store. So, Maggie, throw the picture up in the chat room. There it is. I go in the store yesterday because I made my delivery last week. And I go in the store yesterday, and bada boom, Travis has cleared out. Look at that. Isn't it beautiful? Shelf space next to me. It says KingDude's Chicken Mamu, KingDude's Acadiana Steak, and KingDude's Beast and Butt Rub sitting right next to the 2 most popular spices sold in the South. One is Slap Ya Mama. That's an old Cajun saying, slap ya mama. And the other one is Tony Chachere's. and I'm right there, and ours are right there in between with the labels out. It looks great, and the price is right there, and it's just very gratifying. Don from the Bronx, good old-fashioned "Make America Great Again" entrepreneur story. I think President Trump would love it. I love it, and we're so excited and thrilled about it because I can now go to some other stores and go like, well, I'm in the Piggly Wiggly chain, and it's just really, it's, you know, you get that sense of accomplishment that you've done something, and that's one of the things that I love about America. Don, you there?
I'm here. Yeah, and I'm sorry. I didn't know you were turning it back to me. I'm so sorry about that.
Dude, that was a T-ball. That was a T-ball. Hit it.
Yeah.
Hit it.
I'm out of practice. No, that's a great story, and that's fantastic. I mean, that's the way business, as you said, that's the way business should be done. And it's local. It's local, and it's exactly how deals should be done. So yeah, I agree with you. That's fantastic. And I think, speaking of the Piggly Wiggly, I think a lot of people are going to wake up this year, in the next couple of years, and show up to their Piggly Wiggly and see the middle aisles of the Piggly Wiggly kind of empty. So I think we're going to start to see a lot of food come off the shelves. We've already seen it with the red dye getting banned, and I think we're going to start to see other things that get banned that basically take all the middle shelves of your local Piggly Wiggly and clean them out. And a lot of people aren't going to really realize what happened there, but I think that's where we're headed. I think you're going to see a complete changeover of our food supply.
You know what? And Steak and Shake doing that. There's about 1,000 comments underneath the Steak and Shake tallow announcement. A bunch of small restaurant guys going like, "Dude, I checked it out. We just can't do it right now because of the price." But that's going to change because once the demand. Imagine if McDonald's goes back to tallow. The demand for beef tallow is going to skyrocket, is the point, and you will actually be able. And this is the great part thing about America, which you got to love about America. We're geniuses when it comes to this stuff. We'll adapt immediately. You watch how fast they figure out how to get tallow out of cows, out of mass production.
I'm so glad you said that, Mike, because I think that's a really important for a lot of our friends and people that we would agree with on a lot of issues. Is there's a visceral hatred of the United States just for how it was founded, or maybe just a dislike and always looking to look for the negative that is here. But frankly, there are no European countries, if any countries, that can turn on a dime like that.
That's
like
right.
What you find here amongst businesses in the United States. It's just they just don't. I mean, we basically imported the best of the best from all of our former countries. And, those countries are struggling for a variety of reasons, but one of the reasons is an inability to adapt to changing times and also, lacking that entrepreneurial spirit you find here in this country. So that brings about things like being able to, obviously bring your rub into a local grocery store and be willing to sell it, or be willing to change, your ingredients and incorporate tallow. I mean, there's a lot of negatives here, but when we actually are focused on doing good things, we can do them at a scale that no other country can imagine.
Yeah, and we can adjust that food supply in a very short period of time. People think it's going to take decades. It's not going to take decades. You're just going to stop doing certain things. They're just going to stop. And again, American geniuses, and this is why we need young men with skin in the game. You talk about it all the time. I told you when we met in Phoenix, and it was great to see you in person. That your mantra has really resonated with me, and I want to be an ambassador for America and for Louisiana and for Madisonville and for local and small guy entrepreneurs, including broadcasters and spice guys. Look, guys, get in the game, especially young guys.
Yep.
Get in the game. Find something. Look, even if you bounce around for a couple of years until you find a vocation, you go, I think I really want to do this. Get out from behind the keyboard. Get out there and find something. It may even be that you got to go back to a small community college or a vo-tech school for a little period of time. When you come out, your value as a father now and as a husband has skyrocketed. Especially if you're in a trade, because you'll never be unemployed. So this is there's so much that's good here that we can build upon. Yeah, there's negative here. Of course, there's negative. There's negative everywhere. Why do you think Jesus had to come into the world to save it? Because there's negative in it. There's bad. There's sin. But one more thing, and I wanted to talk to you quickly about this. Brother Andre, Marie, and I had a conversation. We took Michael Knowles and Charlie Kirk's video where they talked about Catholicism, and I said, "Brother, let's go point by point." Now, of course, you know, Brother is high octane, very detailed response. We took a 8-minute video and turned it into an hour and 20 minutes. It's on YouTube now. You can see it. And at the end, I just want you to know, at the end, you know, I stopped Brother and I said, look, I turned to the camera and I said, Charlie, you're wanted. You'll be loved, and you'll love being a Catholic, and we'd love for you you should become a Catholic. You absolutely should, and you'll be a great Catholic. So I look right at the camera, and I said, this is what I want to say to Charlie Kirk, and I want to say that, and I want to talk to you about Mary. You seem to have a hang up about Our Lady, and I gave him a 2-minute message or a minute message, and I said, here, coming from someone who may have thought something similar, let me tell you what's going to happen once you love her. Because she's going to love you back. So I hope that someone maybe gets at least part of that video out there. But there is outreach going on, and you guys, if you want to hear Brother's answer to Charlie Kirk or to Michael Knowles, and kind of nudging Knowles, kind of like, come on, man, don't tell him that, dude. Look, here's what you should have said. And we were very polite to both. This is not a scream and holler. These two guys are. Michael Knowles is an idiot. There's none of that stuff. It's just like, well, maybe Michael could have said it this way, and I would have told him this. So the video's on our Crusade Radio Network YouTube channel.
Yeah, and I can't wait to listen to that. I was anticipating it. I actually had a bunch of people. I wasn't in the room when that happened, but I had a bunch of people that obviously know my face that came and chased me down after that conversation happened during AmFest. So it was certainly very. But I was told actually, interestingly, one of my colleagues was in the audience sitting next to some supporters of Turning Point who were devout Catholics, and they actually came away impressed by Michael Knowles in that situation.
Did they?
In fact, I think his tone actually was better well received in that moment than people realized. So you don't know who's hearing it. I probably would have said things a little bit differently, but he was also, I think, being deferential to where he was.
Oh, he absolutely was working
in someone else's home.
No, he was absolutely working the Charlie Kirk show, which in 4-foot-tall letters was right behind him. He absolutely was deferring to Charlie on it. But, and Brother and I even said that, well, Charlie's not here, and this isn't the Charlie Kirk show, it's the Mike Church show. So we can now say to Charlie what we'd like to say. Give credit to Knowles for actually going on the stage, though, and beginning the conversation.
Hey, and listen, there was over 500 people in a room for Eucharistic adoration at that event. So listen, there's things that are still happening and being allowed to happen, and again, you have to be in the fight to be able to make an impact.
Now, finish your story about someone at the Tampa Bay Diocese that never going to go to Magdalene.
Yeah. So we anyway, to reset, we had been invited because basically we were challenged and said, hey, listen, if you really do believe that you're a part of the diocese, and then you should prove it. And obviously I disagree with that argument because I think it's inversed. I think I think a lot of these diocesan officials have done this to traditionalists, not the opposite. But we were challenged, and we rescued this devotional from Milwaukee to Madonna del Lume, Our Lady of Light. It's a procession that's been going on in Milwaukee for close to 100 years, particularly amongst the Sicilian community there. Also a very popular devotion in the Philippines and in Mexico, in Cuba, and in other parts of the United States. So we rescued this processional, which weighs about a quarter ton, because they no longer had the men to carry it. So we have the men, we didn't have the devotional. So we rescued this from Milwaukee. We had it shipped down, and it needed to be restored. So we were planning on doing our first procession, because there are no processions in this diocese. There are no Marian processions. There are no devotions to any saints or anything like that. And we were planning on doing our first one at the end of February of 2026. But our Lord had other plans, and we were asked and invited to march in the forthcoming March for Life on February 1st here in Tampa with our devotional. So what it does is it carries this painting of Our Lady of Light, which is a beautiful image of Our Lady rescuing a soul from hell, while an angel is delivering the hearts of individuals to her. It's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful image. I encourage people to look it up. And so we're going to be processing on February 1st. We had all these volunteers that came out of our parish and stepped up to restore it and repaint it and really get it looking fantastic, and sprung into action quickly. And we're going to have like we're going to be basically the attraction now at this March for Life, marching through downtown Tampa. So I say that to say, I could have been a curmudgeon in that situation and walked away from that conversation and saying, oh, these Novus Ordo people, they hate us. There's no reason to engage with them. But instead, I offered myself and said, if there's anything we can ever do, please call on me and I will get it done. And we are. We're getting it done because we have a fantastic group of people that care about Our Lady and care about our church. So it's a point. It's a very small point, but it's a point for everybody that you can walk away from situations where, you're sitting across from some MAGA person that you don't agree with 100% of the time. But you know what? If you don't engage in the conversation and you don't put yourself in the position to actually influence them, you're never going to influence them. And I think that's it's a lesson. It's a lesson that can be extrapolated in a lot of different ways.
Congratulations on that, number one. And number two, of course, that's a great lesson, because if you're not in the game, if you don't have a seat at the table, then you're not going to be in on any of the conversations. And of course, no one's going to listen to you. You can sit out there and go bang on the windows all you want and go, you people are wrong, you're going to hell. Or you could try to get a seat inside the room. It seems to me that being inside the room at least affords you the opportunity that you might have some input. Being the guy that's banging on the window and screaming heretic and you're going to hell, all you are is a nuisance.
That wouldn't have gotten Michael Knowles on the Charlie Kirk show. So his style, I agree with you. Listen, should we have phrased things differently? Sure. But his style and his approach is what got him on the show, to even have the opportunity to have the conversation. So I'm all about being, truthful and being principled. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm consistent with that. But you also have to know how to play politics and how to win.
And that's the thing. Don, that's the thing that I think of a lot of our cynic bros, and all is doom and we're all going to die anyway, bros, don't get. There is politics in everything. Mm-hmm. This idea here that I'm going to go in there, we're going to have everything, and we're not going to have any. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. There's politics in everything. This idea there's this pristine world out there that was devoid of politics is BS. It didn't exist, and it certainly didn't exist in Christendom. Of course, they had politics, and of course, there were kings that were bad Catholics, terrible. And some of them were fortunate, and the people that lived under them were fortunate that they had good bishops going you can't do that. They had the example of one of the greatest bishops ever, who was you can't do that, and that's, of course, St. Thomas Becket. You think Becket wanted to have his brain flayed, his skull flayed wide open while saying Mass, parts of his brain out there on the floor in front of the Blessed Sacrament? But no. But he became an example of what in Christendom and for Christendom at a time that it needed it, what a good bishop what was expected of him. So the point being, I think that in most instances you're better off at the table than you are screaming at the outside. We got to wrap it up here, Don. I want to thank you for checking in today. Great conversation, man.
Great to be back.
Now, when is this procession? God, I wish I could come for this. Maybe I can. When is it?
We'd love to have you. Miss Ashley has been is instrumental in as well, and she'll be marching. It's going to be Saturday, February 1st, 9 a.m. in downtown Tampa. So if you're in the area, you're in Florida and you want to join us, we'd love to have you with us. And then even if you can't make it this year, last Saturday in February 2026, we'll be doing our procession, God willing, through Ybor City. It'll be an actual festival, an actual feast celebration. This will be more of a somber tone. But yeah, we'd love to have you either February 1st or next year, 2026, when we celebrate Madonna del Lume.
Sounds great, brother. I'll look into it. Thank you. God bless you. We'll talk next week.
Same here. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
If not sooner, Magdalene Rose, our political affairs contributor, we're going to go ahead and ixnay on the Amergare.
What? Why?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, this console here is 20. The current chair height is 30 inches. So the desk height is 30 inches. It requires at least a 26-inch chair. A gamer chair, the tallest one you can get is 21 and a half. So I would be sitting like a little person here at the table. Besides, Maggie was insistent that I'm to compete with Tim Pool is not to go Tim Pool.
She might be right, but I still think it's an unfortunate thing.
We very much look forward to a great day of coverage and a wonderful turn into the page on Monday's inauguration. And I think that, as Don was saying, the momentum is the MAGA election momentum is still there. And as he was saying that, tempered by fire, losing in 2020 and having all the things done to him that was done to him, tempered Donald Trump. I think he's going to be a much better president. Already he's a much better president. And I actually think that there is a corner that is that we are going to turn a corner.
Yep.
A good one.
I do too. I think it's made him better. And I will say there are reports now that neither of the Clintons, both Obamas, and the Bushes are not coming to the inauguration. And we know that Michelle Obama and Nancy Pelosi are both not coming confirmed. But I think if that happens, it shows that America is really turning a page away from this sort of nice for the sake of nice, we're all going to be friends nonsense, because those people who shook his hand at the Jimmy Carter funeral have spent 8 years trying to literally kill him and get rid of his family. So with them not going, it allows Donald Trump to sort of shape the future and say, we've moved past the idea that you just have to be reverent towards these people for no reason. They have to earn your reverency. They have to earn your support. And I'm here because I've done that.
Well, no, and I think that, again, I was asking a question earlier, going back to the Pam Bondi confirmation here. Does the president have an enemy in his list, and are you going to go after the people on the enemies list? I wish she would have said, well, he ought to have one. Didn't they try to kill him? Have they not tried to ruin him? They tried to throw him in jail. People in this, she should have said, people in this very room, in this committee, I believe, conspired with the attempt to use lawfare to have President Trump thrown in jail for the rest of his life. If he doesn't have an enemies list, he's stupid. He's naive. That's what I would have said.
I think that's true, and the people around him are going to be much more brutal. I don't think we're going to see a much more involved Melania Trump this time around, and the First Lady's job is really to protect the president, is to make sure the people around him are competent. It's not to do policy. I don't think anybody thinks Melania Trump's going to be influencing policy, but she can tell him the people that she thinks are not worth trusting, the people that might be sabotaging him. And previously, she was not as involved as she could have been. The great thing about Nancy Reagan was that she was there to protect Reagan when he couldn't protect himself, when he didn't realize something. Melania Trump stepping up and doing that now that Barron is not a child is great. And overall, the vice president he has in Vance wants to make his own name for himself. He wants to be president. That's clear. So he's going to do everything he can to make sure this administration is successful.
Well, and there's a lot more to like than there is to dislike about J.D. Vance, especially those of you that want a return of the Catholic king. Well, Vance is about as close as you're going to get to one. right now in this situation. And he's not perfect, and he's not going to say everything exactly as you traddies want him to say it. But I feel great having JD there. And by the way, during the transition, he's been very outspoken. This guy hasn't. He's not gone wallflower, walking around on exit. Well, I don't want to offend anyone. He's jumped into a couple of fights and going like, you know what, this guy's actually right, and you're being a jackass or a jerk. And I'm like, because at the end of the day, Magdalena, when we're just about out of time for the week, at the end of the day, the vice president is the president's attack dog.
Yes, he is. And it's a great thing to see. I also love that he's young. I love that there's going to be young children in the Naval Observatory. And every time that we can see Donald Trump interacting with Vance's kids and his own grandkids, it's a great thing. Biden tried to package himself the last 4 years as a grandfather-in-chief. That has never been him. It's always been Donald Trump. And I think Vance and Trump is good. They can trust each other. And I look forward to covering their administration for 4 years.
I could not agree more. I'm so excited for this inaugural. I'm just excited for the Bidens and Harris to be gone. Get out of just get out. So
Nightmare's over.
All right. Hugs and kisses to Ben, and we'll see you Monday. Thank you, Magdalene.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Folks, we're going to come right back with a Free Farm Friday. Mr. Monday and Mr. Cook, I believe, are going to join me. And then we will then pick up with the Christie Nome nomination hearing, or right where we left off here on the Crusade Radio Network. Shop in the store, free shipping all weekend long. That is at shop.mikechurch.com. Make your donations and your contributions at crusadechannel.com/donate. God bless you. Merry keep you.
Crusade Channel On Demand presents the Deliver Us From Evil tapes, the series featuring former NYPD Sergeant Ralph Sarchie.
Well, a lot of people mess around with the occult until they can't control what they're messing around with. That's what I assumed happened with Lee Lutz. I know that he was messing around with the occult because his son told me.
The Deliver Us From Evil tapes, the series featuring Ralph Sarchie. Real-life stories of the battle against the underworld, demons, and the people they prowl the world looking to ruin. Exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Listen or download the Deliver Us From Evil tapes, Piercing Truth, the Mike Church Show compilations, Mike's feature recordings, and hundreds of other titles in the Crusade Channel On Demand store at crusadechannel.com.
Back in the heyday of broadcast TV, NBC called its Thursday night lineup must-see TV. That was then, and this is now. And the only must-see TV is The Mike Church Show, now simulcast live on Roku, YouTube, and Rumble. But if you miss an hour or a day, you can watch that entire show whenever you want when you become a Premium Founders Pass member. Sign up today and access my 2,000-plus podcast. So many, I can't even get my mom to say that she listened. Go premium today at crusadechannel.com/offer.
You're listening to the Crusade Channel, a Black Hat Studios media property, broadcasting live 24/7 from Madisonville, Louisiana, and to the world via crusadechannel.com.
Crusade Channel News. News you can trust, because the truth can be trusted. From the Crusade Channel News Desk, here's Janet Huxley.
Good morning, Crusaders. Welcome to Friday, January 17th, 2025. I'm Janet Huxley, reporting for the Crusade Radio Network News Desk, live from the Dothan Farm and Ranch, south of Kansas City, Missouri. This report is brought to you by Mike Church's Beast and Butt Rub, a rub that has won championships and will help make you a champ in your kitchen or backyard. Check out Mike's recipes and pick up a bottle or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com. Here's what to listen for this hour. Trump says ceasefire better be finalized before his inauguration. Melania speaks out against the Obamas. Rudy Giuliani will get to keep his stuff. And Trump names 3 film stars as ambassadors to troubled Hollywood. President-elect Trump said a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas had better be finalized before he is sworn into office on Monday. During a podcast interview with Dan Bongino, Trump also said his involvement in the negotiations was crucial to the deal getting done. We changed the course of it, and we changed it fast, and frankly, it better be done before I take the oath of office, he said. I'm not looking for credit. I want to get these people out. We've got to get them out. The deal is expected to begin on Sunday, but Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said issues with Hamas has held up his government's approval of the truce. Meanwhile, Melania Trump has accused the Obamas of trying to hijack her husband Donald's first term in the White House. The incoming First Lady made a cutting dig while saying she feels more confident of her husband's fast-approaching second term. Now, former President Barack Obama is not there to make things difficult. The first time was challenging. We didn't have much of the information, she said on Fox and Friends. The New York Post is reporting Rudy Giuliani will get back his $5 million Upper East Side high-rise, his vintage Mercedes, Yankees memorabilia, and other prized possessions as part of a stunning deal reached Thursday with two Georgia election workers he allegedly defamed. Negotiations ratcheted up Monday, a day after Trump posted Save Rudy on Truth Social. And that, of course, sent a flurry of donations to Giuliani's fundraiser. The deal allows the 80-year-old to hang on to all of his property in exchange for an undisclosed amount of compensation, the women in a statement released by their lawyers said. The past 4 years have been a living nightmare, the statement said. Our quote of the day, "My joy is in leading a hidden life unknown to others." St. Euphrasia of the Sacred Heart. And coming up, our saint of the day. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News.
Silver and gold. In these turbulent times, buying silver and gold is such a no-brainer that even snowmen know they should do it. Now, all precious metal dealers claim to be the best, but only one can claim they are endorsed by the KingDude, and that's Miles Franklin. My friend Andy Scheckman's a regular guest on my show and a regular genius when it comes to silver and gold, and I trust him with my silver and gold purchases, and so should you. So email Miles Franklin today for your exclusive Mike Church Show discount price list. info@milesfranklin.com.
Our saint of the day is Saint Anthony of Egypt, who reminds many people of Saint Francis of Assisi because he was so moved by the gospel message at the age of 20 to go and sell what you have and give it to the poor. He actually did just that with his large inheritance. But he's different from Francis in that most of Anthony's life was spent in solitude. He saw the world completely covered with snares and gave the church and the world the witness of solitary asceticism, mortification, and prayer. But Anthony drew many people to himself for spiritual healing and guidance. At 54, he responded to many requests and founded a sort of monastery of scattered cells. At 60, he hoped to be a martyr in the renewed Roman persecution of 311. At 88, he was fighting the Arian controversy. Anthony is associated in art with a T-shaped cross, a pig, and a book. The pig and the cross are symbols of his valiant warfare with the devil. His cross, his constant means of power over evil spirits. The pig, a symbol of the devil himself. The book recalls his preference for the book of nature over the printed word. Anthony died in solitude at age 105. President-elect Donald Trump has named 3 film stars as special ambassadors to Hollywood, and the president-elect continues to garner more support from the pop culture than he did 4 years ago. He said in a post on Truth Social, it is Mel Gibson, Jon Voight, and Sylvester Stallone that will serve as ambassadors to the great but very troubled place of Hollywood, and will work as his eyes and ears on the ground in pursuit of bringing back the golden age of Hollywood. And all 3 actors have indicated support for Trump. In October, when asked who he was voting for, Gibson told TMZ he didn't think his vote would surprise anyone, and he believed Kamala Harris had the IQ of a fence post and a miserable track record. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Channel, seeking news and finding truth.
Folks, back in the day when women were women and men weren't, you only needed a half dozen resources to keep up with the news. It's almost impossible to stay informed without previewing and fact-checking till your eyes turn MAGA red. That's why you should sign up for my new daily email newsletter, The Church Doctrine Daily, with my quote of the day, lead show topic, and 3 stories Crusaders can't do without. Subscribing is easy and free at mikechurch.com/dude. Did you know that MAGA caps are now going for $50? Well, listen up. I know where you can get a Make American Talk Radio Great Again cap for free. Sign up for a 1-year Founders Pass membership, and the cap is yours for free. Sign up today at crusadechannel.com/offer.
Living is the life for me. Land spreading out so far and wide. Keep Manhattan, just give me that countryside.
New York is where I'd rather stay. I get allergic smelling hair.
All right, everybody.
I just
sing along at home.
Darling, I love you, but give me Park Avenue.
The chores.
The stores.
Fresh air.
Times Square.
You are my wife.
Goodbye, city life.
Green acres, we are there.
It's 2025. Welcome to the first edition, Season 5, Episode 1, I guess. Free Farm Friday here on the Crusade Radio Network. There's actually a lot of agriculture farm stuff to talk about here today. We'll be joined by our master farmers, Mitter Dan Monday, the old farmer of New Jersey, and Brian Koch of Wharton, Texas here. Remember, all the previous episodes of Free Farm Friday available at crusadechannel.com, and you should be able to find them, and hopefully you'll be able to find today's. Free of charge for anyone that wants to listen to or watch. You have a suggestion for a guest, please send it along to IamKingDude at protonmail.com. It's IamKingDude at protonmail.com. Of course, Crusader Stadium chat room is open for your commentary. Mitter Monday, let's go to you first. We didn't get the notice that you were being surgeonated upon. So I was not aware. Didn't get a chance to pray for you and wish you well. Everything okay?
Everything seems to be okay. It was just a bit more invasive than they led me to believe. They disconnected some veins in my legs that don't work anymore.
Oh. So they removed the out of date ineffective plumbing.
Well, actually, what they do, depending on the location, size, and depth, they either make a little incision and say, "Oh, a little pinch, yeah, a little pinch," and then go in with a laser and go zap it, or they give you chemical injections to seal them off. When you have, like I have, clotting disorders, all your blood comes back through muscular contraction. So, all these little check valves and all these veins, so the blood keeps coming back up. And when they get damaged through these kind of things, then you get pooling blood, then you get blood clots, and that can be bad. So anyway.
Wait a minute. They could use a laser, or in your case, they used a phaser?
No. I told them to stick with the tried and true technology, that newfangled phaser stuff there,
Just go in there with the knife and cut it out. Get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it.
That was the old way, go in and strip the veins out, so that this might be, I'm complaining, but maybe I shouldn't. I'm more complaining about the fact the insurance company's telling me they're denying it all and want to charge me $42,000, but other than that.
I want to...
So I have to come work for you part-time to make up that money.
Well, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Actually, I think 2025 is going to be our finest year, I think. Dan, I wanted to let you know, and we'll introduce Brian Kay in just a moment here. The George Washington recipe eggnog that I made, I actually wrote it on the cap on the 3rd of February of last year. I just opened it up 2 days ago. And it tastes, it's so good. I actually think it needs to sit in there for a year.
It It definitely ages well. Yeah, I mean, not that you cannot, but you do not make it and drink it the same day. You should be making it like in November for Christmas at the very least. And,
It is so balanced and so good. I had to stop myself going like, dude, there's a lot of booze in that. It may taste like sugar milk, but it's a lot of booze. So I had to stop myself from going back for seconds and thirds and going like, ooh, this is really tasty. And anyway, I thought I'd pass that along. The Dan Mundy, George Washington eggnog recipe ages, the eggnog ages very well. Now, speaking of things that age, Brian K., golly, when was the last time we talked to you? Halloween?
It was, I think it was right before Thanksgiving.
Okay. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. Just got a lot of things going on.
I know you do, and you got to get a bunch of farm animals prepared for what? 12 degrees, 15 degrees? What's it going to get down in Wilton?
I'm seeing 20.
Child's play.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm more worried about the snow and ice.
Which is on your forecast and is on mine too.
Yeah, they're talking about. I saw 4 to 6 inches of snow, which is. I mean, we can handle the snow, but it's the ice.
No,
that's the one that breaks
Brian,
the power lines and stuff.
You can handle the snow. Texas drivers can't handle the snow.
No. I mean, I'm going to handle it and stay home.
The Cajun Navy. Did you see the Cajun Navy's tweet about this? Cajun Navy tweeted out that there's a hurricane incoming here. Hey, let's throw a party. There's a 20% chance of snowflakes. Oh my God, we're all gonna die.
Yeah, I saw another one that was instead of the hurricane, they have the cone of indifference. Well, this week it's the snow cone of indifference.
The snow cone of indifference. Okay, let's start Free Farm Friday on a farming footprint here. Maggie has a question for Brian, so I'll ask it for her. What could happen in the pickling process with cucumbers that one jar smelled like they didn't get pickled, and the other jar they just turned to mush? Now, she canned them in June. Is that normal? Or should you expect that you're going to lose some of what you're preserving there? Because it was your recipe.
Yeah, it could be something with the seal. I don't know. I've had seal issues and other things where it just didn't do that. But as far as did you use a water bath on them?
Oh yeah, she did it exactly as Suzanne told her to do it.
Yeah. See, I don't. I've had like the mushy ones. One time, I don't know why Suzanne thought to pressure can them, but it just basically mushed them like that. But I've had issues with the jars not making a good seal. That was it, and it was more the seal and not the process.
Yeah, that's probably it, because we had a jar 2 weeks ago that was fine, and those are gone. They're in my belly. They are gone. Well, I just thought I would ask here. Now, let's talk for a moment here about cover cropping, because we're going to get cold weather. Now, remember, when Ice-Mageddon hit Texas, what was that, 3 years ago? Was it 2022?
21.
I was 2021.
4 years ago.
Okay, 4 years.
Yeah, beginning is the best way to start Lent ever.
Right. Well, it was February.
Yeah.
We're still in January.
It was right around Valentine's Day. Yeah.
Right. I think it was February the 11th. So don't think just because we get this polar vortex that this is the shot for the season. This may not be the shot for the season. My cover crops, and if it only gets down, it's supposed to be 25, 26 here. Will that kill my romaine and my fire leaf lettuces?
If it gets below 25, that's when I would start getting concerned about that. Okay. If you have like a light blanket or something and you want to throw over it, it probably wouldn't hurt to do that.
Okay.
Just because you might have wind and stuff. And I don't know, have y'all been pretty cold lately, or colder lately?
It's gotten down to like 32 or 31 one morning, and the lettuce is fine. As a matter of fact, we have a parsley plant that was dormant that came back to life because it got cold. But we covered
Yeah.
the herb beds. We covered the herb beds. We did a vegetable, basically a visqueen cover. They call it gardening cover, but we covered the herb beds. And when the herb bed was covered, the freaking parsley, we pulled the cover back. Everything's beautiful and green, and there's parsley, and there was none a week ago when we put it on there. Took it off 2 days ago. There's parsley.
Yeah, yeah. It's probably just helped out that, but usually on that, if the plants are hardened to colder weather, they'll do better. I know a few years ago we had our first freeze on New Year's Day, and we had temperatures in the upper 70s and 80s for like the previous month. I mean, it just never cooled down. And then we had one of these big freezes, and I think it got down it wasn't even, I think it was just the upper 20s. And, it killed things that I never thought would die, but the plants weren't hardened to the cold. Fortunately, we had the upper 20s a couple of weeks ago and everything. So most of my stuff, my cabbages and stuff, are pretty hardened. I'll probably still cover broccoli and cauliflower that's still still producing heads, but other than that, it's just mainly, another thing is water it real good. If you water it real well, that water kind of warms up the area around it. And
so water it before you cover it, or water it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just soak it real good, and that'll help out. Another thing, and this might not be specific for y'all, but there might be some other people that might have trees in greenhouses or other things. You're using thermal mass, so you get like a big barrel and fill it up, like a black barrel, and fill it up with water and let it sit in the sun all day, and then cover whatever plant is next to it, and that heat will radiate off of that, and that should it should give you a couple of nights of relief, and you don't have to invest in a heater or anything like that, or a heat lamp or something. So there's some little tricks and stuff that you can do with that. But if you're not going to get below 25, a lot of those cool season plants, especially if they're hardened, they're going to be fine. It's now these cover crops and stuff, they're designed, and in the northern climes, they'll winter kill. So if you have cover crop that winter kills, it's not going to hurt anything. A lot of times it just freezes the top back, and there's still a living root, and it'll come back, when it warms up. Yeah, I had some cover crops a few years ago that burned off, and it was the first time I'd ever had cover crop. It was actually 21 when we had the really cold. I think we got down to 11, and we had it 2 or 3 nights in a row, but then they recovered not too long after that, and I was actually grazing some cool season grasses that had just recovered not too long after that. So it's just that's what they're supposed to do. The idea is just having that living root down there and keeping that soil fed. So that's how that works.
Yeah, I got great crimson and clover, and in one bed, and clover in another bed that are completely covered. As a matter of fact, I have to plant the other third. I think I'm going to wait till after this blows over. Mid or Monday. So my cover crops are looking good. Of course, I may not be here this summer. Please play to God. Mid or Monday, because of where you are, you really don't. Everything is winter condition for you already.
Oh, yeah, there's nothing. It is interesting to ride around because, we've had a little bit of snow. Last night we have other than one storm, we really haven't had a lot of snow cover. So it's interesting to ride around, and you can see who has got cover crops and who does not very, very plainly. It's amazing, that it's still green. I mean, we're actually going to have negative next week. They're calling for negative below zero nights.
Really?
And you got to you got to be careful what you wish for. Up where I am, it tends to be, at least the last 20 years or so, it tends to be fairly moderate. So you end up having a very large mud season. And as much as I hate the cold, and I do hate the cold, I will often say, if it's going to get cold, just cold and freeze everything so I don't have to deal with the mud. Well, I got my wish this year, which is why one of the reasons I still have the pigs. I wish the pigs should have been gone a month ago, but between some equipment failures and the fact that I couldn't get the trailer in to get them out, and then by the time I was able to schedule the butcher, I'm not going to get rid of them for another 2 weeks. So just bad planning on my part.
Okay, well, let's talk about something that is actually going to happen on farms here. We did the announcement today that Steak and Shake is announcing that in February, next month, they are going to fry in all of their shoestring fries in beef tallow. I expect that this will cause an industry-wide flight back to tallow. Remember McDonald's used to fry everything in tallow. I don't know how much you know about the process, but is this something that a cattle harvester or a beef supplier, can they ramp up the production of that? Is there old equipment that can be reactivated? I don't know anything about the process. Do you?
No. Oh yeah, the process never stops. Any of the large slaughter facilities have rendering plants attached to them. They have to do something with it. It's just what they're using it for. So it's not like, they've just been throwing it in the garbage somewhere or dumping it out in the ocean. They still render it, whether it's a chicken plant, a beef plant, a pork plant. They all do all their rendering, and it goes into other products, a lot of pet foods and things like that. Now, will there be a supply problem? Like anything else, we stop using it where we want it to be used. They find other uses for it. Well, now there's going to be competition for it. I mean, so that the cow isn't going to suddenly give more tallow. They're not going to kill more cows just to get the tallow. So in conjunction with other things, I'm not sure, other than other industrial processes and Brian may know or pet applications and stuff like that. I don't know where the beef tallow is going, but they certainly render it.
Okay, interesting. Same question, Brian Kay. You work for the state of Texas, so I imagine you got some insight on this. Texas ranchers be able and processors be able to make that switch to make that kind of tallow, or I guess packaging will be an issue to get it into the hands of restaurants and restaurateurs and maybe even consumers to start using again.
I think like Dan said, Miss Money said, it's kind of a shift because. Yeah, it is being used somewhere, and so you'll probably be able to get it, but you might be paying a premium for it because it's going from one use to another, and if it, usually with food use, depending on what it is, a lot of times it's a specialty type deal,
right?
So you're going to be paying more for it, but I think it's when you butcher a cow, on your own, if you tell the butcher what you want to do with it, they'll give it to you to do what you want with it. So it's not like, I don't know if, I know on the direct marketing end, you could probably, how am I trying to say this? On the direct marketing end, it's probably easier to access it than, the mass produced stuff, because they probably have contracts and other things that they have to deal with, because who knows what they're, it could be going for pet food. It could be going for candles. It could be going for, lubricants or, whatever, it's a, versatile product. If you read the old stories of, when they'd go out west, they'd stock up and they'd get sugar and tallow and lard and, and all those things. And always was like, tallow, what was tallow? And then you learn about it, like, oh, okay. Well, you cooked with it or you used it for, I think they use tallow in, beauty products too, because it's really good for, holding your skin moisture and stuff. And it's really good for your skin. So, there's a lot of uses. So I think it's just directing it to another use.
And now the same question for lard, because I would imagine then that if tallow is coming back into use in frying foods and into preparing foods, I would imagine then that the same thing will happen with lard. And now you currently can get lard. It's expensive as hell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's
Same thing.
$25 for a little liter. I mean,
yeah. And I think it's the same thing, you know. But with lard though, you never really. It didn't go out of style as much as tallow. I think just because you still had a lot of, especially probably more ethnic preferences in it and stuff. So it kept it around a lot more because it was, you know, pork is a more, I think, to me, is more universal product. You know, more, you know, since they're smaller, they're easier to raise in small spaces and stuff. So they fit in these applications where you have, you know, populations coming from these areas that, you know, there's, you know, pork was part of their subsistence. So, you know, it just translated into where they, you know, when they came here, it was still there. So you still had there was still a definite market for it. I think with the tallows and stuff, that I think, you know, a lot of them switched to a more available seed oil. And if you think about the seed oils and just seed products, they're so heavily subsidized. And so there's a lot out there. And, you know, you try to buy something and it's got soybean oil in it. And it's like, what? And then you look at something else that's got soybean oil in it or something like that. And so there's just such an availability of it.
Right. Now, I wonder what's going to happen to that. And I wonder, you know, because I've been following RFK Jr. for 12 years now, and I've read him for 12 years, and I know what he thinks about seed oils, and I know that he's republished some studies about it. So has Nicole Shanahan. Thomas Massey knows well about it. There are people in Congress that know about it. Of course, Joel Salatin is now going to be close to whoever the Ag Secretary is going to be. So I think that there's going to be a war, if you will, on seed oils and the use of seed oils. The people that are making that stuff, what are they going to do? What else would you use it for? I mean, I don't know. Did Wesson vegetable oil or canola have a purpose and a use before they started telling us to fry stuff in it?
Canola used to be used for, was it ship lubricants?
That's what someone was saying in the chat room. Ship lubricants.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what it was made for. And if you look at a lot of those oils, they were industrial applications. And when you stop making bombs, but you still had facilities to make the stuff and weapons of war, you still had to, you know, it's like, well, let's find a different market for it. I mean, that's how you get ammonium nitrate for fertilizer. I mean, it's an explosive, but it grows the heck out of some grass.
Maggie is saying that, they used it to lubricate steam engines. Mitter Monday, let me bring you back in on this because you sent this to me. I think also that Congress is going to take up and they're going to have hearings on the Prime Act. The Prime Act is Processing Revival Interstate Meat Exemption. I told my father-in-law about it, and he went, Church, I don't know what the hell you just said, but I don't think it's going to happen. You think it's going to happen?
I hope it's going to happen. Since the way they're treating Massey now, I don't know if he's going to have as big a voice as we want. But I guess that depends on whose ear he gets. Besides the Zion King, there just doesn't mean he won't get Mr. Kennedy's or the current Ag Secretary's ear. I think it's going to get discussed. I think we're going to get something out of it. And like anything else, Mike, if you got to. I certainly would not compare it to abortion, but I mean, okay, so basically what this is going to do is it's going to kick it down to the states. And the states are going to have to start regulating it. However they decide to staff up to deal with it, or how they're going to, they're going to always defer to the current federal laws, even though they're not going to be.
That's a really good point. You know what? I need to invite the Cajun on here. John Swallow, maybe you can be on the next Free Farm Friday because Swallow knows a lot of these pork producers here. You know, if you drive through the Acadiana and through the Cajun part of Louisiana, Dan, and Brian, let me bring Brian back in here. Brian, you know this, you've been through it, and you know all about the Cajun Navy. Well, there's also, you know, I call it the Boudin corridor. The Boudin corridor. I don't know where the pigs are being harvested at, and maybe they're in Louisiana, but I can tell you that if you go from Jennings, Louisiana, all the way to the Atchafalaya River or the Atchafalaya Basin, you can't pick a dead cat up and swing it by the tail and not hit a boudin shop or an andouille or a boudin ball store or whatever. It is huge, and it wasn't that way 10 years ago. There was a restaurant, a restaurateur, the guy's name was Billy, and Billy kind of led this. But Cajun Country is back as producing andouille, boudin, and pork sausages and cracklings. Anything that you can make with a pig, they are making it in spades here in Louisiana. So I just wonder, and I don't know this, which was I was thinking that John Swallow might the Cajun, if our pigs are being harvested and produced locally.
I think that's a question for the store. You go in there and ask them, it's like, where do you source your pork? I mean, if they don't want to tell you, then it's probably where we think, you know, Smithfield and all the big pork producers, you know, I mean, it could be that, or, you know, I don't know. I don't know how much of a pork industry is in Louisiana to make that much boudin. And other products. So it could be, you know, just your factory farm pork, you know, for lack of a better word. I don't know. But, you know, the best thing to do is, like I said, just go to one of the places and ask them.
Yeah, it's a good. That's a good thing. And I ask this because if we are doing it locally, or if there are a lot of it is being done locally. Well, then again, if there is a return back to lard and tallow, to be used as frying again. And like I was saying earlier, in the 1970s, let me bring Mitter Mundy back in here. In the 1970s, when Mrs. Brady, Florence Henderson, was hired by the Wesson Oil Company or the Crisco Company or whoever that was, Procter & Gamble, whoever made it, was hired as a spokesman for Wesson Oil. And she goes, look, at least no greasy residue. And people started going, oh, we can use this Crisco stuff. Oh, we can use this Wesson Oil stuff. As I was saying earlier, Dan, this was known in the 70s that using seed oils for human consumption and fry things in, just for consumption in general, was showing bad health effects. They knew it. And now I don't know that they continued the studies, and I'm pretty sure that some have been done here. But I could see a day, you can't get this crap in Europe. I can see a day where, for human consumption, certain of these oils are, you know, hey man, you got a certain amount of time to phase them out, but you can't use them in food production any longer.
Well, and then things will reorient. You always say, like we talked about the tallow, you talk about the seed oil. You know, sometimes it creates its own need. I mean, you're going to have byproducts from any production. You want to find something to do with it. That creates the need, whether that becomes a marketing need, whether that becomes a questionable use, whether that becomes somebody subversively trying to buy off an agency to say, yes, you can use this. That all happens. So it will reorient itself. What's going to happen to all the soybean producers? Well, you know, you had a couple of competing things there. You know, the war ended. We had all this chemical production. What did we do? We made fertilizers. What did that do? They made a whole bunch of corn and soybeans. What the heck are we going to do with this stuff? You know, I mean, it all kind of keeps on flowing. It's all going to keep flowing one way or the other. You know, and that is, you know, many who sing the praises of capitalism. If you want to look at pure capitalism, well, that's the way it's going to work. Now, you know, if you take the ethics out of it, then we get what we have today. You know, otherwise you're going to, you know, it's the same thing as what's going to happen when this goes down to the states. Well, it's going to be a good thing because, you know, the agricultural inclined states will handle this better than some blanket thing coming down from Washington.
That's right. And we better be prepared. I think the thing is, we better be prepared for it. We're out of time. Mitter Mundy, Godspeed on your recovery.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I won't be here next week because next week, I know you remember, I'll be going to the 27th annual Working Wood in the 18th Century program in Williamsburg, of which I have made 26, or I will make 26. I don't miss it. So.
All right. Well, Godspeed in your travels, Brian. We're out of time, and good luck and Godspeed. God bless you on preparing for 24 degrees.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll take care too.
All right, we'll talk to you guys next week. And I'll wrap up this episode of Freeform Friday. Folks, don't go anywhere. As I'm an ID is going to come up at the top of the hour, or top of the minute here in about 20 seconds, and then I'm going to clear my throat, and then we'll come right back and pick up with the hearing on Capitol Hill to confirm Kristi Noem. Thanks for watching here and listening on this episode of Freeform Friday. God bless you, and Mary keep all of you.
And watch the Crusade Radio Network, then Pelosi's got insider stock trading tips. YouTube, Roku, Rumble, Alexa. Tune in, and of course, crusadechannel.com.
Folks, back in the day when women were women and men weren't, you only needed a half dozen resources to keep up with the news. It's almost impossible to stay informed without previewing and fact-checking till your eyes turn MAGA red. That's why you should sign up for my new daily email newsletter, The Church Doctrine Daily, with my quote of the day, lead show topic, and 3 stories crucial. And welcome back. We are going to join in progress the confirmation hearing of Kristi Noem. Actually, we stopped it about 40 minutes ago, and we will now pick up where we left off here on the Crusade Radio Network. Mike Church here with you. If you like what you hear during the hearing, and we'll jump in and comment, please feel free to leave comments in the YouTube. You can also join our Crusader Stadium chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat. Now, back to the hearing.
Unfortunately, Americans were shocked to see 2 horrific incidents in New Orleans and Las Vegas, a deadly reminder that terrorism and radicalization remain very real and ongoing threats to our homeland. In my role on this committee, I've made combating foreign and domestic terrorism, as well as extremism, a top priority. In this complex environment, it is essential that DHS continue to focus on all terrorism threats, track and report data to Congress and to the American people, and coordinate between all components to ensure the department is effectively addressing all types of terrorist threats. We've also seen the persistent cyber attacks are still a very serious threat, in fact, an increasing threat. A recent attack from Chinese-based hackers infiltrated the Treasury Department, on top of ongoing Salt Typhoon hack that comprised numerous U.S. telecommunications companies. There's no question that DHS must continue to lead the way in protecting our networks from foreign adversaries, cyber criminals, and so-called hacktivists to prevent cyber attacks from becoming increasingly devastating to our security as well as to our economy. And finally, the Department of Federal Emergency Management Agency must continue to work hard to address the increasing number of natural disasters affecting our communities as a result of climate change. From violent storms like hurricanes that brought destruction to states across the South, to the devastating wildfires in California, and countless other severe storms and flooding events all across our country. We need leadership at the department that will ensure our nation effectively responds to communities when disaster strikes them. The safety and security of our nation and the American people depend on the department's ability to effectively address these wide-ranging threats. So, Governor Noem, thank you again for your willingness to serve in this incredibly important position. And thank you for being here today. I look forward to having a comprehensive discussion about how you intend to lead this critical department through a series of national security challenges, if indeed you are confirmed.
This morning, Governor Noem will be introduced by Majority Leader John Thune and Senator Kevin Cramer. Senator Thune, you're recognized.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Ranking Member Peters, and members of the committee, I'm very pleased to be able to be here today to introduce South Dakota's outstanding governor, who has been nominated by President Trump to serve as the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. I've known Kristi Noem for a long time. She has a very compelling personal and family story, which inspired her entrance into the public arena, and I'm sure you'll hear a little bit more about that from her. But I've observed as she has gone through the state legislature as a leader there, State House of Representatives, the U.S. House of Representatives, where she was our only member from South Dakota, representing our state's interests there for 8 years, and now currently as South Dakota's governor. And I think she brings to this job a number of things that are going to be really essential. And one is obviously a skill set when it comes to managing hard problems. She led our state through the pandemic, managed what were extraordinary circumstances all across this country in a way that made South Dakota, frankly, a magnet for people from other states who were trying to flee or get away from some of the heavy-handed requirements that were imposed in other states around the country. Our state stayed open, stayed free, and that was largely due to her leadership. And I would say, too, as we tackle what is an enormously complicated and hard issue, which is our southern border, it's going to require a skill set, which I believe she possesses. It's going to require a tremendous amount of persistence and determination, which I think she has, an enormous amount of energy, which she has in abundance, and frankly, what I would say is just absolute toughness. It's going to take some tough and hard leadership to get things back in order. And I want to refer to something she said in her State of the State address earlier this week to South Dakotans, and that is that over the past 4 years, we've seen a complete disregard for the security of our borders and the safety of the American people, to say nothing for the rule of law. Chaos at our southern border and the Biden administration has left our country vulnerable to a whole host of security concerns, from terrorist entries to cross-border criminal activity like drug trafficking. I think it's well documented, and I think it's high time that it gets fixed. And we have somebody nominated by the president that I believe has the capabilities, the qualities, the experience, and again, frankly, the determination and toughness to solve what is a very, very tough issue, and one which is desperately in need of solutions. So I'm pleased to be able to be here today to introduce our great governor and to thank you for your consideration. I look forward to this committee acting on her nomination, and I look forward to voting for her on the floor of the United States Senate to be the next Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Kramer.
Thank you, Chairman Paul, Ranking Member Peters, colleagues. Once again, I find myself in full agreement with the Majority Leader. It's a good place to be in our business. So this is a very special opportunity for me. And first thing I want to do is thank nearly all of you. I got into almost every one of your offices with Kristi as her very amateurish sitting Senator Sherpa. And the blessing for me was not only to be with my good friend and former colleague, but to learn a lot about this committee that I'm not on, and to get an inside view. And Gary, especially learning how we can work together at the northern border and how similar, although very different, Michigan and North Dakota are. So thank you for your hospitality. You were all very kind to Kristi and to me. But Kristi is a former colleague. You know, when you're the only member of a body of 435 from an entire state, it's really important to have friends. So together, Kristi and I were two out of 435. And if we could get Montana, Wyoming, and Alaska, there'd be 5 of us that could take on the fight. But I know this, I remember our very first year, my first year, it was not hers, my first year in the House, the unthinkable happened and the House of Representatives failed to pass a farm bill. And all I can tell you was the least secure homeland person in America was the Speaker of the House and the Majority Leader the next day, when Kristi and I doubled up, and eventually we got a farm bill done. I say that because we are living at a time, and Senator Peters, you used the words strong, stable, and principled. I can't think of 3 better words to describe Kristi Noem than those 3 words. I would add this. I'm not surprised that President Trump turned to Governor Noem. Securing the homeland is the #1 priority. our number one priority, our number one constitutional priority as a Congress. And it is for sure the number one priority of the voters in the last election. And it is the number one priority for President Donald Trump. So naturally, he would say, who is the toughest, smartest, most capable protector that I know? I think I'd like to find a ranch woman, mom, grandmother who knows how to protect her own. And when you grow up on a ranch in the prairies or the West, nobody else is going to look out for your critters. No one else is protecting your family. You do it. And she brings this skill set, as Senator Thune said, as a leader, as a legislator, as a member of Congress, as a governor, a very important. By the way, when I'd get into the room with other governors, Senator Hassan, I might as well have just left because I was now part of a club where I don't belong. But anyway, it was very, very rich because there's an alliance there that's really, really important. And so for me, it's just a really special opportunity to be able to be here with her and to have had this time in your offices introducing her to you. But I want to wrap up because last night I received a very touching letter, unsolicited by either Christie or me, from the tribal chairwoman from the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, which straddles North Dakota and South Dakota. They don't really care who wins the South Dakota State, North Dakota State football game, but they do care about their reservation. And Chairwoman Alkire sent me this letter. Standing Rock is the home of Sitting Bull, in case you were wondering about the credentials of their ability to protect the homeland. I'll just read a few words. On multiple occasions, Governor Noem has invited the Standing Rock Sioux tribe to her table at the South Dakota State Capitol to enter into meaningful discussions. That's what I witnessed when she came to your offices. And Janet writes, it is of great excitement and enthusiasm that our North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum will be at the helm of the Department of Interior, and my hopes remain high that you will feel the same about Governor Kristi Noem at the helm of the Department of Homeland Security. These two governors understand the needs in Indian country and what words like tribal sovereignty, jurisdiction, and consultation mean to the indigenous people.